I'm the super chuffer. Press go live. Let's see that working. Let's see it working. I'm Ganjikidd. I'm the super chuffer. Yep, I can hear me. Press go live. I haven't got as much of a delay on today. I hope that we do get the creative captions, the closed captions. I think I've got the settings on for that. If I haven't, I apologise, because there's a button I have to switch for that. But I think we're good. I think we're good. You're in chat. Hello, hello. Today we're doing Paul Ansell's Channel 5 interview, the red flags. We previously did the red flags, of course, and we didn't finish that episode. We've still got about 10 minutes left on this video, so that's what we're doing today. If we get extra time, then we could look into some other people that you want me red flagging, like that Ron again. We could look into that. Make this 6 hours long. Let me read out your names in chat. Let me read out who's been here waiting. We've got John Main, Tattle Vixen, Unity Calling, Silver Moon Warrior, hello gang, Acoustic Gymnastics, and K9, that's quite a cool name, Cameron, we've got Keeley, we've got, and the names are repeating now, so I've got to be careful not to read everyone twice, Rachel, Magda, Scouse Mouse, Tinniswood, Squirrel Sniper, Silver Moon Warrior, we're all here, hello, hello, Michelle, India, Linda, sorry. Yeah, so we've got this thing rocking and rolling. We know what we're doing. Let's just check where we were at on the last one. And I will quickly tell you at the very start, we are looking for your voice messages. We are looking for your messages. That's the speak pipe. We're going to be talking about tomorrow, this time tomorrow, we're going to be talking about the psychic on this channel. I want your opinions. I want your ideas. We've got tarot cards that we were looking at yesterday on my stream on Twitch. So if you want to see me doing some tarot card looking on Twitch, there's that for later. Maybe I'll paste that in for later. We've also got, some people have made videos on the internet where they've been talking to Nicola Bulley on ghost boxes, talk boxes, spirit boxes. I mean, what do you think of that? People talking on spirit boxes, like radios that contact the dead. That's an advert. That's not the dead. That's an advert. But what do you think about this? You know, got thoughts on this sort of stuff?
The spirits that are here. Is her partner Paul involved in the disappearance? Okay. It's very important that we are truthful here and that we are clear.
Has he got someone else in the other room on a microphone or what? I need to know what your feelings are on spirit boxes, the psychic, the tarot cards, the Ouija boards, all that. I want all of your opinions and feelings. Have you ever seen a ghost? Can we contact Nicola? Was it really a psychic medium that found her? Was that psychic really, you know, we've had a look at him in one of our episodes, haven't we? Was that really a psychic gift that led him to find Nicola? I want your opinions. I want to know. So you're going to have to pop that in a voice message, 1 minute 30, or do 2 messages, have your whole 3 minutes, but don't go too mad. We've got a few in already, you see. So we've got a show brewing. So I want to hear what you think of that. If you think it's real, if you think it's not, whether it's Nicola talking, whether the spirits, did the psychic lead them there? I want to know all that. So make sure you get on that. Make sure you get on that. I'll remind you again before the end of the episode. Let's see where we got up to last time.
People don't just vanish into thin air. It's absolutely impossible. So
True.
something has happened.
True.
Something has happened.
True. Why did you repeat it twice? Repetition, body language. Repetition. Okay. That's what we were doing last time. This is the Super Chuffer channel. We've got playlists. I'm going to have to start a Nicola Bulley playlist, aren't I? We've got a Madly Arm McCann one. We've got a Thus podcast. We haven't got a Nicola Bulley playlist. We're going to have to start a Nicola Bulley playlist. You can scroll down the lives and you can see all the different stuff we've been doing over the last year or so. It's all interesting, even if it's not brand new. We've been talking about flat earthers and wild theories. We've been talking about all sorts. So make sure you have a scroll down there at your own leisure at some point. Feds banging my door. The feds are banging your door down. That's not ideal. Hide under the bed. Paul done a murder. Talking of Paul done a murder, I got my t-shirt on, my new t-shirt on today. Look, got myself a nice Shannon Matthews t-shirt printed up. So might get myself an I done a murder. We'll have a look. I'm trying to find a nice company that does a good print that we can settle on. Where's my crack? Where's my crack? Yeah, we're starting up our own memes now on the internet. Where's my crack? So this is where the video thinks we left off last time. I've got to get zoned in. I'm going to be red flagging. I'm going to be heavy on it. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to be biased. Yeah, I'm going to do this as if Paul is guilty and I'm looking for every sign of guilt. I'm not doing a body language analysis where I say, oh, that could mean this and that could mean that. And maybe this means he likes a cup of tea. No, I'm looking for signs of guilt and I'm looking for them, so I'm biased. I'm heavy on it. Red flagging. That's what I call red flagging. It's deliberately biased. It's deliberately leaning towards the idea that he's been a naughty, deliberately looking for that. Red flagging. And of course, things have changed since we last watched this interview. Nicola's body has now been found, but when he did this interview, she was still missing. No one knew where she was. So we're looking for the idea that he knows and other people don't. We're looking for any signs that he might have been involved in hiding her body or actually murdering her. That sort of stuff. Very clear. So if anyone says, oh, you're being mean to Paul and it's a bit unfair what you do. Yes. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yes. Like it, don't like it, this is the Wild West on the internet. I'm not doing spirit box videos. I'm not contacting her children. I've not looked up Nicola's personal details and shown you them on the internet. Her tweets, her liked tweets, none of that. Just doing what he's done on an interview. He's put this in the public domain. I'm doing it on the interview. Interesting to see your ideas there about the psychic in chat. Put them on the... Send me the voice message. The more voices, the better for the conversation. I want to hear your thoughts. So send me the voice message. If you've got a thought, send it to me. You can do it on your phone. You can do it on your computer. It's very easy. You just click the link and then you just press record and leave me a little message. Cool. Right. This is Paul. What are you saying, Paulio?
Our whole family. Yeah.
Let's rewind him a little bit.
I mean that, like, even as a couple, on the odd occasion, if we ever do have a night away from the girls, because the girls are our world. Like, we go out for meals, the girls come with us. Our whole family. Yeah. Everything that we do is, the girls are in it. They're involved in it, and that feels right. You know, that's how we love it. We love our little family. We love our world.
And your gorgeous dog.
That was edited there and cut, wasn't it? That was edited there and cut. I'm looking for the actual bit where he said, like, where he repeated himself. So I could just start from here, can't I? Doesn't matter if I repeat a bit here and there. Or am I...
Willow's been spending a bit of time with us.
She can't tell us, can she? And Jordan looked at me excited that she was there for a walk. Whatever reason, you know, say and do not very nice things. But I don't want to give any energy to that. That was done, ruled out, obviously, so high that we can't thank them enough. Sometimes for my own good.
I don't know exactly where we're at.
Yeah, just give some sign of some kind. But she, bless her, she just went through the gate like any other normal day. And
I remember talking about this, the
ran
dog.
into the field and looked at me excited that she was there for a walk.
You know, the dog didn't grass you up. I remember talking about that.
I was saying to her, where's mummy, you know. And she was just looking at me like...
You've done it.
You know, let's go for a walk.
There's been a lot of publicity around Nicky's disappearance, hasn't there? And I suppose you are one of those stories that is very much talked...
Chewing his mouth while he's asking him the question, ruminating on what he's going to say.
...about on social media at the moment. I don't know whether you've read the stories, the accusations, all the theories that are out there. Does that upset you? Or are you happy that people are talking about and trying to find a solution?
It would be upsetting, of course.
They edited that as well. They cut Dan off. Dan was going to say a load more and you just didn't hear him. They cut him off and edited straight into the reply.
Talking about and trying to find a solution.
It would be upsetting, of course, if I let myself read it all. Don't get me wrong, I have seen some stuff.
I'm going to pause that one. It would be upsetting. It would be, of course. It's not upsetting for him. It would be. And the reason it would be upsetting is if you hadn't done anything wrong and you were innocent, then it would be upsetting. Because people are saying all these things and they're suggesting you did it. And that would be upsetting. But if you had done it, it wouldn't be upsetting because it's the truth. And they're saying the truth. So it would be upsetting if you're innocent. It should be upsetting. It is upsetting if you're innocent. But if not, then why would be?
About and trying to find a solution.
It would be upsetting, of course, if I let myself read it all. Don't get me wrong, I have seen some stuff. Most people have been amazing.
Yeah.
You know, you always got you.
There was a micro expression. Don't get me wrong, I've seen some stuff.
Wrong. I have seen some stuff.
I have seen some stuff. What have you seen, Paul? There's this micro expression here of like, he looks off into the distance, he's shaking his head slightly, discomfort, uncomfortable. I wonder what it is that you've seen, Paul. I wonder what it is that you've seen.
Most people have been amazing.
Yeah.
You know, you're always going to get that 2% of people that, for whatever reason,
There was a half shoulder shrug.
2% of people that.
Half shoulder, turn down at the mouth. This is doubt. This is not believing things, doubt, uncertainty, trying to shrug something off. There's always going to be two. Like, the question is whether he's doubting what they're saying or whether he's doubting whether they're going to be a threat. You know, there's always going to be a couple of people who think I did it, but so what? You know. And yeah, you're right in chat there. I don't think it is 2%. You know, I wonder if he's trying to sell us the idea that it's 2% and it's not 2%. I'm just going to quickly half shoulder, shrug, body language. The beauty of when I'm editing a body language video is that I can do this sort of thing offline and I can look into it and make sure I'm right. I want to just check this. This is when the full shrug means a person doesn't understand something. The half shrug is performed when someone's not committed to what they said. Doubt, like I said, yeah, not committed, not sure, not committed. So I think the issue here is he's saying there's 1 or 2% who don't believe me. Maybe it's more, maybe it's less, maybe the police know, maybe they don't. I'm not sure about how many people do and don't believe me.
You're always going to get that 2% of people that, for whatever.
And he paused over people.
2% of people that.
People. People's a word. People means anything. That 2% of people. What, do you mean the general public? Or do you mean the police? Or do you mean the family? Are there people around you that don't believe you? Instinctively they're not feeling right about you?
You're always going to get that 2% of people that, for whatever reason.
For whatever reason, which means there's more than one reason. It's not 2% of people don't believe you because, you know, I'm the partner and that's the main suspect in most of these cases. That's the reason they don't believe me. It's not that. It's for whatever reason. Whatever reason. Well, what reason? The fact that you're the partner and your main suspect, or other reasons. The fact that you've got different aspects of your personality that have come to light. The fact that you know things that could cast doubt on these stories. You know, for whatever reason. For whatever reason. Is it true she wore a Fitbit? Apparently she had, as much as I can ascertain, you know, and I'm not a party to the actual factual evidence, but as much as I can ascertain, they listed her clothing and the things she was wearing when she went missing, and that included a blue Fitbit, and that blue Fitbit had not been found and had not been on for a few days prior. And the reason it wouldn't be synced is if your phone or the Fitbit ran out of battery and it became out of sync and then it wasn't resynced. But usually she would have it and have it synced. It's one of the reasons I think she might have been murdered prior to the announcement of her being missing. It might have been that Fitbit was, you know, switched off on the day of her murder. A few days before, they've had an opportunity to hide the body, to get their story straight, to make it look like she's still about doing things, to cover their tracks. That's what I kind of think. Hello, Helen.
You know, say and do not very nice things, but I don't want to give any energy to that. Like, my energy is just finding Nikki.
Hard because we can't see him, but he's shaking his head when he says his energy is to finding Nikki.
Not very nice things, but I don't.
Not very nice things? What do you mean? The things they're saying that are not very nice, Paul, is that you've murdered your wife?
You know, say and do not very nice things, but
not very nice, isn't it?
I don't want to give any energy to that.
So he does a half move with his hand off his leg there. Again, it was a defensive, pushing them away, creating this barrier. Doesn't want to give any energy to that. What he half did with his hand, a very subtle movement, was that he wants to block them out.
And do not very nice things, but I don't want to give any energy to that. Like, my energy is just.
And we now know, or we now suspect from our review of this, is that Emma is actually in the room because this is Emma's property, and Emma will be off camera towards where he's gesticulating. Like, she's sort of, I can't quite explain. Like, imagine Paul's knee, his knee, his bottom right knee, the leg. It's pointing towards Emma, is off camera, because earlier, hello Mother Bear, earlier, and he does have a sneering face, doesn't he, Karen? He does sneer a lot in this. Earlier, he gesticulated towards Emma in the previous red flagging we did, and we assumed that she was over there, and it turned out this is Emma's place now, so she will be there. Probably watching him, probably, you know, if like two people have got a story together and she's watching him deliver the story, she's probably watching on anxiety, like anxiously, like egging him on to say the things, stuff like that. Maybe a slight distraction, sat in the corner gurning. Nyla there. Audrey, am I watching those chuffers with the baby? You know, that's such an appalling story that I don't really want to bring myself to deal with that. Like, we all know what's happened, obviously, with that appalling story of those chuffers who have sadly either not taken care of or maybe deliberately murdered their child, or, you know, this is a horrible story, isn't it? And that girl comes from such privilege and seems to have thrown her life away for the sake of drugs and dirty living, aggressive men. It just seems horrific, to be honest. So I don't really want to cover that as an episode, but let's hope they do find the child and give it the honourable funeral it deserves. Yeah. So yeah, let's carry on with Paul.
And Nikki, I read one that said the police need to look at the partner, and I'm sort of like, well, yeah, that's the first thing that they do.
I don't know if we've seen this bit before, you see. I can't remember how we... Oh, no, of course. The reason I think we've seen it before is because we did one full episode, didn't we? We did one full episode. I'm going to have to do a playlist for these now. I'm going to have to put them into a playlist. Nicola Bulley vanished. We watched it all, didn't we? And I reacted to it. And then we rewatched it with the red flags. Didn't we? And then we didn't get quite to the end. We got to that bit where he was saying, and he was repeating himself. So it may be that I've missed a little bit out the middle here. I think we're okay to go from here, though, aren't we? That's why I feel like I've seen it before.
Like, of course it is. Yeah. You know, like, I knew that would happen. Like,
so the idea here,
that, like, my energy is just finding Nikki. I read one that said,
and he's putting this confused, concerned face. And that's acting. Like, either he's actually angry about this thing that's been written, or when someone, I'm sure we've all told a little white lie before, you know, who ate those chocolate bars? Not me. Oh, I don't know where they are. I can't figure it out. I'm confused. It's confusing me. Trying to work this out is confusing me, so I'm pulling the confused face. Like, you don't need to pull that face if you're really just saying, oh, I don't know. You just, it's over. Oh, it's over. We've seen Paul being so devoid of emotion that his brow doesn't even move, except for the occasional eyebrow twitch. And now here we've got the full confused face.
The police need to look at the partner.
Concern. Actually, the first time he's shown real concern, maybe. The police need to look at the partner.
And I'm sort of like, well...
And I'm sort of like, well, not I am like, I did say this. I'm sort of like, well...
Yeah, that's the first thing that they do.
Yeah, that's the first thing that they do. Right, now recontextualise this. He's saying it in a really calm way. And he's trying not to pull his big sneer. But Paul thinks that the people who are writing online that you need to look at the partner are fucking idiots. Yeah, that's the first thing they do, you fucking idiot. Like, he thinks he's better than people. He thinks he's... this is arrogance. This is pure arrogance. Keely's saying defensive. It might be slightly... I don't think it is defensive, actually. I think this is aggressive. I think he's sneering at these oiks who have written this stuff on the internet. They're fucking idiots. And he knows... Of course they look at the partner first, you stupid bastard. I think he's being aggressive here.
Like
half smile here, half smile. He doesn't want to be doing a big confident smile to show that he's smarter than all these people, but it's a half smile and a sneer. It's condescension.
Of course it is.
Yeah. Of course it is. And he widens his eyes for that. The widening of the eyes here is aggression. It's confrontation. This is not someone who looks down and away when confronted with this. This is someone who's prepared to stare you down and face you up when he's confronted with this. Do you want to say that I murdered her? Right, then, well, fucking, you got to tell me to my face that I murdered her. You know, this is aggression coming out of Paul here. Big condescending sneer.
You know, like
There was a full shoulder shrug as well. There was a full shoulder shrug. Of course, we just looked at the shoulder shrug, didn't we? It means they don't understand something. Typically, the full shrug. I don't know. wasn't me. It also is defensive. Actually, you're saying defensive. I agree with this. It's closing off the neck. It's shutting down the neck. Full shrug. We can't see the rest of his body, so we don't know if it's a full shrug, but full shoulder shrug. It says they don't understand something for this, but I'm not 100 on that. Yeah, I'm not 100 on that. I can also see defense in that as well.
Finding Nikki. I read one that said the police need to look at the partner, and I'm sort of like, well, yeah, that's the first thing that they do. Like, of course it is. Yeah.
Shrug. Believe me. I think it's a believe me expression mixed up in there, part of a defence.
You know, like I knew that.
He does look like he's been on a sunbed for too long, doesn't he? And during the process of this interview, he gets redder across the interview. We're looking at the last bit, so he's the reddest. But yeah, lots of blood flowing into his face. Despite his calm and relaxed demeanour, you can see that he's agitated, and that blood flow is potentially because of increased adrenaline. The closer we come to talking about him being caught or even accused, I suppose the adrenaline is flowing. I'm going hard on aggressively red flagging him, so I'm going to say that's a red flag, because the closer we come to the truth, the more his blood pumps as his anxiety increases.
That would happen, you know, on the first day.
And you, I said, you expect that, don't you? Yeah.
I expected that. I said to them,
don't like the fact that Dan interrupted there. That was bad. Idiot, you know, Dan.
Like I knew that would happen, you know, on the first day.
And you, I said, you expect that, don't you?
How has Dan got into this position of being a, you know, interviewing broadcaster for important things? Because he's not good at it. Like, he might think he's good at it. He's about as good at it as riding his fucking bike, mate. Like, oh, you expect that? Does he? I don't know. You've put the words into his mouth now, so now we've overridden what he's saying and thinking with your feelings and thoughts, Dan, because you're the main important one.
I knew that would happen, you know, on the first day.
And you, I said, you expect that, don't you? Yeah.
I expected that.
And so when Paul puts his hands forwards like this towards Dan, when Dan says that,
you know, on the first day,
and you, I said, you expect that.
He literally mirroring Dan here. Dan's offering him something. Shrug of the shoulders, open posture, like believe me, look, believe you, a way out, a friendly posture. Paul's just going to mirror it back to him. Mirroring it back to him. Mirroring is something we learned that narcissists did. Mirroring something we talked about with narcissism. But also it's because Paul's in a sticky situation and he wants to climb out of it, and so mirroring Dan is the easiest way.
Don't you? Yeah.
I expected that.
I expected that, using Dan's exact words. But then he purses his lips and closes them, because he's not content to literally just parrot fashion Dan's words. If you were innocent, you could literally just parrot fashion that. I was innocent, I didn't do anything, I let my brain run and let my mouth go. But he's cautious, and he looks over at Emma, I think, off camera here. So the minute he starts to let himself relax and go with Dan, following his body language, and I expected that, and I was shut myself down looking at Emma. So there's a bit of retraction here. There's closing it back down. You see his hands have gone back down and he's pursing his lips.
I said to them.
I said to them. It's a bit weird.
On the first day.
And you, I said, you expect that, don't you? Yeah.
I expected that. I said to them, do it and get that out of the way, and then focus on
finding her.
On finding her and focus.
So again, Dan's putting words in his mouth.
And get that out of the way, and then focus on
finding her.
On finding her, and focus on the rest of it. So that's.
And I was saying before about these hand signals.
And then focus on.
We're talking in his mind. He's asked. So what's important here, right? In his mind, he's going through what he thinks the police should be doing. You know, he's going to describe. He's describing. You can look at me as a person, but you want to focus on finding her. He's talking about her body at the moment. We know it's a body. At this stage, you know, when we were watching this, we didn't. So Paul, in his mind, if he knows where she is and what she's up to, you know, he might be able to subtly, subconsciously show us that through his body language when he's describing what the police would do if they were to find her. And in his mind, it's these hand actions down like this. Whatever he's doing with his hands here.
Do it and get that out of the way, and then focus on
finding her.
on finding her and focus on the rest of it. So that's exactly what we...
Finding her and the rest of it. That's very interesting, isn't it? In this context now. What's the rest of it? What's the rest of it, Paul, when you found her? Is the rest, what would the rest of it for the police? It's a very strange concept, isn't it? Like, if you find her and she's alive and well, then the rest of it for you is going to be just simply she comes home and... Like, I don't think the police are involved in the rest of it, are they? What do the police need to do for the rest of it? The rest of it.
And focused on...
Finding her.
On finding her and focus on...
There was a micro glance as well. Focus on... Dan says finding her, but he's looking into this part of his mind, which is his feelings. He's actually looking into his real feelings. Like, we don't always go with
It's
NLP.
raining again. I couldn't be happier.
Tippies.
And then whoosh!
I always forget to tell you that tippies are the lifeblood of my business. I'm making a joke comment there because one of the streamers that we look at that we analyse says that tips are the liquidity of his business. But I really do, this is important that I start making this a sustainable venture. Thank you to somebody who bought me a coffee there. Somebody, that's the tippy system. It's gone up in chat. Hopefully the coffee bot's gone up. So you can click the link. You can send me a tippies. With the coffee, buy me a coffee. I get the majority of the money. Whereas if you do me a super chat, it's still great. I still like it. It goes at the top, super stickers and all that. YouTube take a slightly bigger cut, but it's all good. It's all good. Thank you very much for the tippies. If you like what I'm doing, I will encourage you to tip me because, Jesus Christ. Yeah. Where am I? Paul. He's looking off into his feelings. I was saying we don't always go with the neuro-linguistic programming looking with the eyes. It's gone away a little bit in body language circles. It used to be the main thing and it's gone away a little bit. What we now look for is clusters where more than one body language signal is being exhibited as part of a group of signals that point towards something. So, some people might poo-poo this, but I'm going to still say he's looking down into his kinesthetic, checking out his feelings, how he felt about something. Briefly. He's not going to stay there.
And get that out of the way, and then focus on...
Get that out of the way. Look at me.
Do it.
Do it. Do it. These are different words. Textual analysis as well. Do it. If I want the police to investigate me to get me out of the way, I could say, ask me the questions. Do it is more... Again, it's aggressive. It's like we're thinking about what might have happened to Nikki. Do it. Do it, And
get that out of the way.
Get that out of the way. Remember, he's telling us innocent words. He's not going to grass himself up. But in his mind, what's going on is, these are things I can't say. This is what I don't want to grass up. I don't want to talk about this. Make sure that stays off limits. It's in his mind. Do it. Get it out of the way.
And then focus on...
And then... So this is where I'm saying again, red flag, I'm saying do it, get it out of the way, kill her, hide her, and then focus on this other thing. I don't think she was in the same place for the whole time since she died. I think she was killed and moved.
On
finding her.
On finding her and focus on the rest of it. So that's...
And focus on the rest of it. So an emotional response.
Finding her.
Finding her, and when he says finding her, he looks into his feelings and his emotions. What are you going to feel when they find her? What are you going to feel when they find her?
Finding her and focus on the rest of it.
And focus on the rest of it. What do you mean the rest of it? When you find her, you're going to have some strong feelings and there's going to be a rest of it. So if you find her and she's alive and well and sitting at a coffee shop having a coffee, you find her and she's at the Travelodge, you might have some feelings and the rest of it might be your personal details of your family. We're going to have a big talk now, Nicola, because this is a bit weird what you did to me, running off like that. That's an innocent way to look at it. A more guilty way to look at it is when they find her, the rest of it will be an ongoing investigation into her potential murder, and we're going to have to deal with that as it comes, aren't we? So, pretty bad language there, pretty bad signals, red flags.
Out of the way, and then focus on...
Finding her.
On finding her and focus on the rest of it. So
and it was Dan that said finding her. He doesn't necessarily want the police to focus on finding her. He didn't say that.
Hey, and then focus on...
Finding her.
Because he didn't have a word. He just like looked at Dan like lost.
And get that out of the way, and then focus on
what?
Finding her.
On finding her.
On finding her. Yeah, I'll agree with you on that. On finding her. Let's get the police to focus on that.
And focus on the rest of it. So that's exactly what we did. You know, it was.
He gives these eyebrows.
Finding her.
On finding her, and focus on the rest of it. So that's exactly.
That's surprise, legit surprise, as he looks away, closes his eyes to take a momentary mental break. I can't believe I just said the rest of it. I surprise myself with the stupid things I say when I'm trying not to lie. Big Bam Bam, drop me £1 on the super chat, on the super sticker. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Exactly what we did, you know. It was.
That's exactly what we did.
Finding her.
On finding her, and focus on the rest of it. So that's exactly what we did, you know.
So that's exactly what we did. What? Hang on. You've just said the police looked at me as the main suspect. So I wanted them to look at me as the main suspect so that we could get all of that shit out of the way and that we could focus on finding her. We focus on finding her. I might be saying if the police are... I mean, you could see yourself in the police as one. That's true. But if they're looking at you as a suspect, you might see yourself as defending against them. Like, it's not... We're not on the same team anymore. They're looking at me as a suspect. I want them to get that out of the way so they can focus on finding her. I want them to get that out of the way so I can focus on finding her. We is a bit of an easy grouping after they've just been looking at you as the main suspect.
On
finding her.
On finding her, and focus on the rest of it. So that's exactly what we did, you know. It was.
So that's exactly what we did, you know. It was.
That was done. Ruled out, obviously.
That was done. I done a murder.
That's exactly what we did, you know. It was. That was done.
That was done.
Ruled out, obviously.
Ruled out. Obviously. The word obviously is a qualifier. When you're lying, if I said to you, did you break that window? You might look at me with incredulity. I can't say the word. Incredulity. You might look at me as if I'm gone out. Yeah? What do you mean broke the window? No. Like, you're not going to... Obviously no, because I was sat at my... Obviously no. It's not obviously no, is it? Obviously is a qualifier to make it seem even more like you didn't do it. But you don't need qualifiers if you're telling the truth. You just say no. Yeah? Like, so red flag for obviously.
That's exactly what we did, you know. It was... That was done. Ruled out, obviously.
Obviously, and it got a big stare for obviously as well. Look at the staring eyes here.
Obviously.
Obviously. So I think obviously here, staring of aggression. Again, can't hold it back, obviously.
It's raining again.
Like, aggressively staring at the man.
And then whoosh.
But there also is panic in those eyes. When we're talking about the fact that he's been pegged for the murder. He's panicked. There. Kate Stromberg bought me a coffee. Loving the ideas and my hair. The hair, you know, it is what it is. It just grows on me. It grows on me. I didn't know about whether I like my hairstyle, but eventually it grew on me. Thank you very much for buying me a coffee, Kate, from Sweden. I visited Stockholm recently. A couple of years ago, I visited Stockholm and Dalarna, the Falun province. And I made a film about computer game development out there. It's on this channel. You can see it on the videos on this channel. I'm a big fan of Sweden and the Swedish games industry. So this is a great big stare. This is a great big stare here for obviously. Obviously. And it also comes over, again, the neuro-linguistic programming here is there your feelings. There, you're looking into how you felt. And you stared at the man, you stared into your feelings. And this is all places you don't want to look.
It's raining again.
This is all like, I don't like this.
And then whoosh.
It's almost like you're watching a horror movie. The concept of you being obviously not having done it, is causing you this shock and terror, and looking into your feelings about having had done it is causing you feelings of shock and terror. Do not like it. Huge big red flag. Huge big red flag. Thank you, Black Cats and Crows, for the tippies there. Thank you, Black Cats and Crows. You're becoming quite a regular now, aren't you? To the point where I can actually read your name. That's going well. I really don't like this. This is one of the worst expressions I've seen on Paul. I mean, it's not sadness. It's not anguish, is it? It's horror to the point of... you could almost imagine his adrenaline is pumping at this moment. And it would be if you were accused of murdering your wife, but maybe you'd feel defeated and upset. Like, if someone was accusing me, I remember times in my life where I have been accused of things that I haven't done. I remember once that actually came about through a family thing. Nothing major, but just the idea of, like, you know, you don't believe me, to me broke my heart. because I didn't fucking do that. I'm not going to do that. I mean, it might have been something simple like someone's like tenner went missing or something. I can't remember exactly what, but I remember the feeling of thinking like, how come they don't believe me? Like, I wouldn't, like, it was almost heartbreak rather than, I didn't have anything to explain it with either. I couldn't say, obviously it wasn't me because I'm such a good person. I always go to church. Like, you know, I'm a bit of a chuffer sometimes, but I'm not going to go that far. Like, £3 from Tracy Hughes on the super stickers with the avocados, and Mother Bear has also gone for the avocado pear for the £5 super sticker. Keep it up. We've got some vegan pumping, some vegans pumping in the chat. The avocado crew, super chuffer suffragettes. Very happy with that. Thank you. It goes on the chat, and you can all see it there. Some super stickers. Yeah, I really hate this look of anxiety, panic in his eyes. I don't like it. It scares me, to be honest.
So that's exactly what we did, you know. It was.
Why can't I comment? Says Big Bam Bam. You should be able to. You're doing the super stickers. I'm not stopping you from commenting. You're not like hidden or anything. You know, you're just. You're not in timeout. You're not hidden. I'm not going to add you as a moderator, but they're the only options I've got when I look at your name there. You should be able to.
I couldn't be happier.
Someone sent to please. If you've got problems commenting, you do have a YouTube account, haven't you? Because you've just left that tippy. The only other thing is maybe the YouTube auto moderator might cut out some words, and it might be some words you say it doesn't like them, so it won't put them on. You know, maybe that. More coffees from someone. Thank you, somebody. Thank you, somebody. I don't know who you are. Thank you.
That was done, ruled out, obviously.
Obviously.
And then
he's brought his hand up. We can't see his hands here. Shame. Again, the interview. I mean, this is a really bad shot from the interview because it's so tight. You're missing a lot of his body language. And really, we want to see that. You know, as much wide angle as possible, please, on people that might have murdered their wife.
That was done, ruled out, obviously. And then move on. And
we don't see properly, but he does this.
I couldn't be happier. Swish and then whoosh.
He kind of does this. He pushes with his hand. Thank you for the tippies, Mickey Lana. He does this with his hands, pushing. And it goes back to this idea that I feel that after she's been killed, because he's saying after, he's describing after they've looked at me as a suspect, we've gone back to.
Again. I couldn't be happier. Swish and then whoosh.
I would love to see Ghislaine Maxwell's interview, Pam. I would love to see it. Pam sent me some tippies. I would also love to see that. That's one I want to get Steve on, because I think Steve would also be interested in that. Thank you very much for the tippies there. Thank you. I really agree. Totally, 100% agree. And Mickey Lana, thank you, Mickey Lana, for buying me a coffee there on the tippies. That's really appreciated. That's going in the kitty. We're going to use that kitty to produce more exciting things on media. And I'll quickly say as well, like yesterday I was on Twitch, not Twitter, Twitch, doing a live stream. I stream video games over there, and I bought these cards that are like cards from the video game, and they're also tarot cards. So we were looking at that yesterday, and thanks to the generosity of Nigel, one of my long-time supporters, I've actually got this set up now. Look at this. This is live now. This is, you saw it yesterday, the Ouija board setup. I've now got a top-down. It's top-down camera, so it's a much better view on the Ouija board.
Be happier. Swish and then whoosh.
It's a much better view on this now, and I've ordered some actual proper tarot cards that are not computer game ones that are missing some cards, so we can have a look. We're going to be having there's the fish. There's the fish. We're going to be having another look at this in the future. So these tippies do go into producing better and better content, hopefully. That's the main point of it. But also, you know, I want to eat. I do want to eat. So thank you. Thank you again for your tippies here. D. Peacehaven. Thank you very much. I totally appreciate this. This is the lifeblood of my business. It's funny when I say that because it's another streamer says that, but you know, yeah, it is important. It is important. It's huge.
It's raining again. I couldn't be happier. Swish and then whoosh.
There's the fish.
It's raining again. I couldn't be happier.
We've got Sandy and Jess and Angela Dubry. I think Dubry's the right way to pronounce that, but I'm not excellent at pronunciation of everything. Sandy and Jess, thank you. On the old screen there. Thank you very much. That's a fiver. That's going in the tippies. And Angela Dubry, thank you for giving me the little extra as well. Thank you for giving me the little extra. Thank you. Let's go back to Paul.
So, you know, whatever, you know, people want to say, and you know, if that's what they want to think, that's their business. It's not.
Really interesting here.
So
whatever people, we're not seeing his face. Yeah, we're seeing Dan's face with his little smug smile until he gets knocked off his bike. Something that's really interesting is what he's saying here is he's got this, if I'm red flagging him for being guilty, he's got this insider knowledge. He's got this guilty knowledge of when they find her, she's going to be dead. And I know that she's going to be dead because I've got, I'm going to reveal her and put her in the river and all this business. So she's in the culvert at the moment. She's in that culvert. It won't let me unless I pay. Not put anything offensive, just would like to chat in. Yeah, no, I don't have a problem with Big Bam Bam chatting in chat. I've got no problem with it. So thank you very much for the £5. Paul shows no emotion, and what was the bruises? Yeah, we did look at that. I don't know enough about Paul and his past to know if that's a mark on his face or if it's real bruising, but we did say it looks like it is, and we did think he looked like he got some sort of redness around his neck as well. Someone else is here saying they cannot tip through Ganji. The coffee.com/Ganjis, I used to be called Ganjikidd, that was my name before I was Super Chuffer. But it should be a system that works. If it doesn't work for you, then I apologise. You could probably do a super chat if you want to. But, you know, totally, I find it very difficult. I don't want to be here sort of grifting for money and begging. Like, that's not what I'm here to do. But I totally appreciate all your support. It's this groundswell of support that keeps this sustainable. So, you know, bit of a thing there. So, yeah, Paul here.
Ruled out, obviously, and then move on. So, you know, whatever, you know, people want to say, and, you know, if that's what they want to think, that's their business. It's not. That's
their business. He pushes his hand through again. Pushes his hand forward again. He thinks that when Nicola is found, people are going to have things they want to say. If Nicola is found, they're going to have things they want to think. Whatever they want to say and whatever they want to think is their business. That's a bit of a strange thing to say. If I'm hoping she's alive, then I'm going to say that I'm not against these public. Like, I'm not, like, they've got a lot. It's a weird one. It's like he's defensive against the public saying all this stuff about him. And at the moment, he's making his appeal, should be making his appeal on the news. This is his opportunity. Nicola, please come home. But instead, he's almost justifying what things will be like after she's found dead. Whatever they want to say is up to them, isn't it? $1.99 from Sarah there. Thank you very much for the blue super sticker. Do you know what? The Freemasons involved stuff, I don't know enough about Masons, but I'm quite happy to learn. So we might have to, at the moment we're doing psychology and we're doing the psychic for the next call-in tomorrow. If you want to call in for the tomorrow, call in, get us out on the psychic. Tell me what you think about the psychic. We can move on to the Masons. We can investigate them. I'm quite happy to. Elliot says we're all nuts. Yeah.
It's raining again.
That's fine.
I couldn't be happier. Swish and then whoosh.
Maybe we are. You know, maybe we are. Maybe we are. I say maybe because maybe we are. More tippies on the coffee.com. More tippies on the coffee. That's Papa Brune. Love the show. Thank you very much, Papa Brune. Thank you. I appreciate that you love the show, and there's lots of the show as well. If you scroll down on my lives, you know, if anyone's fairly new, there's lots more that I've done in the past. So you can always watch this when I'm offline as well, you chuffers.
Want to say and...
Elliot, I'm telling lies, pausing the video and saying he stares for ages. I mean, you can see it. You can decide, Elliot. I'm not telling lies necessarily. I'm saying what I see.
So, you know, whatever, you know, people want to say, and, you know...
Whatever people want to say, he's shaking his head about, you know, he can't really deal with it. It's something he's not really... if he had a shoulder shrug, I'd say he doesn't know what's coming, he can't be sure. And that would be innocence. I don't know what they're going to say, I can't be sure. But the fact that he's shaking his head about it without that corroborating body language makes me think that he's trying to discount or dispel what they are going to say. And as well, he goes very static. Of course, he's paused. He goes very static. And that is him restricting his body language for this moment. So he just shakes his head.
And then move on. So, you know, whatever, you know, people want to say, and... you know, if that's what they want to think, that's their business. It's not...
If that's what they want to think, what? What is that? What they want to think? What's that? What do they want to think? We haven't brought that up. He said the police might have thought, and what about the public? And like, if that's what they want to think. So in his mind is the concept that he's murdered her.
Want to say, and you know, if that's what they want to think, that's their business. It's not mine.
But I know you've also been struck by the
business. It's their business. It's not mine. $2.99 from Pink Soda there with the avocados. Thank you very much. It's not mine. It's not mine.
I think that's their business. It's not mine.
It's their business. It's not mine. Does this allude to? Okay, so now we know. It's easier with hindsight. Now we know that they used this as a huge grift and that they wanted all that GoFundMe money. The I Done a Murder GoFundMe. Maybe I should get that up on screen again, because we haven't had it up on screen for a little bit, have we? And it is quite fun, isn't it? It's a... What is it? It's an image. And maybe I've already got it here. No, that's not the right one. Good old Scotty Hottie there. Doing my job here. I don't know where it is. Forget it. I'll have to get it prepared for next time. You know what it is. If you know what it is, you know what it is. The I Done a Murder. I didn't have it prepared today. Just that Christmas one was in its place by mistake. So, yeah. Anyway, point being is that this is an allusion to the crowdfund. It's their business. It's their business. Let's just get this.
response. I was asking how you... And, you know, just being here for today, everybody's talking about it. Everyone's asking...
Want to say, and, you know, if that's what they want to think, that's their business. It's not mine.
He's actually pointing towards Emma.
So, you know, whatever, you know, people want to say, and... you know, if that's what they want to think, that's their business. It's not mine. It's
really hard to see because you can't see his full face, but I think while he's saying this, he's kind of looking away from Dan and down and away toward Emma, but out the side of his eyes. He's not looking directly toward Emma. Like here, I think he's looking down out the side of his eyes.
You know, if that's what they want to think, that's their business.
And he's not looking at anyone here. He's looking down at the floor, but he's actually gesturing up and away to Emma. So I think this is alluding to the idea that, okay, what the public want to think is their business. When he says their business, he's pointing towards Emma and he's using the word business. Business is about finance, is about money. It's not about, you know, that's their prerogative or anything like that. It's their business. So I think the idea has already been put together that Emma is going to handle the public face of this and gather the money, you know, off the public. He's pointing towards them. Grift away, sweetie. I'm highlighting a common problem and alerting women to pay attention to control of others. Crack on. Thanks, FixLogic. Yeah, I'm a media producer and I'm making money out of creating media. So when we touch on delicate subjects like this, I'm cautious to request money for the making of the media about it. But I appreciate what you're saying here. Like we did that episode on narcissism this week, didn't we? Our latest podcast where I got the forensic psychologist to teach me about narcissism, and we're going to do it next week as well. We're going to do red flags of narcissists. And it is important that people understand this concept, and it's out there in the world, isn't it? So I agree it's important. Yeah, thank you very much for more tippies. Awesome channel. Finally found out how to tippy. Do not change the tippy sound. Do not change the tippy sound. Thank you, Cameron. We all like the tippy sound, but what I might do is I might get a few different sounds and try and get them on rotation, so it's a bit more fun. You don't know which one it's going to be then. But yeah, I won't change it immediately. I won't do anything immediately. It takes me ages to get anything done. I think he's gesturing to Emma. We know she's in the room. We know she's over there. And I don't think he wants to look at Emma and point at her and say, public perception, PR, that's Emma's job. I don't think he wants to point at her and say, public perception, PR, that's Emma's job. Because that would sound awful. So instead, he's done it in this more subtle way. He's moderated his language. He's changed his words. But really what he's saying is, public perception, PR, Emma's job.
Want to say, and you know, if that's what they want to think, that's their business. It's not mine.
But I know you've also been struck by the amazing response locally, and you know, just being here for...
Yeah, okay, gets a big swallow. See that big swallow? You can even see his neck bulging like a frog when I reverse it. Big swallow. Yeah, that's a problem.
Locally, and you know, just...
He's having to restrict, it's having to swallow, it's anxiety, it's nerves, it's increased salivation, it's big problem. We've also got a condescension sneer at the same time as a frown. We've got all sorts going on about the people in the local area. The people in the local area make him angry. He looks down on them. He sees them as a threat.
But I know you've also been struck by the amazing response locally. And, you know...
Yeah, and almost like, shut up. Yeah, he's cutting in. This time it's not Dan cutting him off, it's him cutting Dan off. Yeah. Like, I have, like, if you were saying to me, I've been heartwarmed by the response locally for people trying to find my loved one, I'd be like, oh God, yeah. Like, it'd be like a relief to me. Like, I'd be expecting to see relief here. I'd be expecting to see, not the furrowing of the brow, but the relaxing of the brow. Because these are people coming forward to take the weight off your shoulders and to help. And it would be a huge... you'd feel like some aspects of solidarity, some like kinship with a group, you know, a huge relief. And instead it's not, it's a stress, it's causing him to swallow, it's causing him to feel condescending.
Again. I couldn't be
Just
happier.
being here.
And then whoosh!
Lots of problems with that one. More tippies. I hope you appreciate that. I want to say thank you to everyone when they do the tippies. I quite like taking a little bit of time out just to say thank you, Mitch. You know, thank you. I hope it doesn't interrupt the flow of the episode too much. You tell me in chat, you know, I'm happy with the way we do it. I'm happy saying thank you as they come in, but I think it's all good. Keely says, 7:52, someone in the background speaks. In this particular video, I'll have to have a look at it. Thank you, Keely, 199. We're at 23:18. I will have a look at this 7:52. I actually put this in, don't tell anyone. This is my channel. I put this up on my one of my backup channels.
I go in the house.
Obviously, I've trashed it already by putting up this copyright material on it, but...
And I put the kettle on, make a cup of tea, and I think, right, I've got an hour
bit of tea.
myself on that morning when she takes them. So I always quite look forward to that, you know, because I wave them off, and then I go in the house and I put the kettle on, make a cup of tea, and I think, right, I've got an hour.
Bit of tea.
I did hear that.
I wave them off, and then I go in the house.
Yeah.
Takes them. So I always quite look forward to that, you know, because I wave them off, and then I go in the house.
Okay. That person that's speaking in the background is somebody that works in the property, or is it's probably Nikki's mom or someone like that, because we know we're in Nicola's property, and if you're the producer, you're not speaking. Like, if you're the cameraman, you're not speaking. If someone asks you something, you're not replying to them by accident, because you're a professional, you do these jobs. Right, the amount of times I've been holding the microphone, because I did that documentary shoot with the Eddie Strongman film, the amount of times I was in a documentary setting and someone makes a mistake by speaking, and I want to say, shut the fuck up, but I can't, because then my voice is on there saying shut the fuck up. So I'm looking at them. So that's just some idiot. Probably someone's popped their head in and they've gone like, you know, okay, we're fine, or something, and they've gone, okay, yeah. Or like they're on the phone maybe and they've walked in by mistake. It's a strange one, that, but I don't think it's something that's too worrisome. I forgot exactly where we were now.
Talked about on social media at the moment. I don't know whether you've read the stories of accusations, all the theories that are out there. Does that upset you, or are you happy?
On the first day.
And I suppose you expect that, don't you? Yeah.
I expected that.
I expect that.
I said to them, do it and get that out of the way, and then focus.
Why do we have to wait for the end of June for the full reason? I want to take this. It's a really good question, and I want to just take this here. And, you know, the way I am, we'll talk about things as little tangents sometimes, and people will ask me again, what do you think about this? And I'll say, oh, we talked about it in that episode, but I didn't do it as a proper, episode. But one of the things that I'm a bit concerned about at the moment is they took that diver and struck him off the list, and they're saying, oh, he's struck off the list. That diver man struck off the list. He's not allowed to do any more diving, and they're making it out like a bad thing, like he's been struck off the list. He made it out like he's been struck off the list. He's not been struck off the list. While they investigate him and this case, because the divers were in the river, and because Nicola was supposed to be in the river and they didn't find her, they need to be investigated. All the police divers are being investigated. The police investigation itself is being investigated. We're having inquests. 2 inquests. So while you're being investigated, you can't do any more police diving. Yeah? Excuse me. He's not been struck off the list, the diver. He's not been struck off the list, this Peter Folk, whatever his name is. He's put it on his Twitter that he's been struck off the list. He's not been struck off the list. That's sensationalism. He's been temporarily suspended pending investigation, as he should be, because he went up and down the river and didn't find her, and she turned up in the river. Hopefully the investigation discovers that she wasn't in the river and he didn't make a mistake. But he needs investigating because he went up and down the river and he didn't find her. Yeah? It's not that he's been struck off. Okay? Like, that one really annoys me. And so the idea that we're going on now for months until we get an answer. I have two sides of this coin. One side of this coin is that it's absolutely despicable to let it go on for so long because we want answers. But the other side of the coin is we need this inquest to have the full time and space to be able to do a full inquest. And when we say full, we want lab reports, we want second lab reports, we want backups of samples, and as much as humanly possible to get the fullness. So I agree it has to take some time. The negative is it gives it space so that the fervour dies down, so that people aren't as interested, so there's another news story and we can talk about it, and it goes away. And then when it finally comes up, oh, by the way, Nicola Bulley, the inquest said that she just, who knows. Anyway, bye. And no one's angry then, because it's like, if they said that now, everyone would be furious. They'd all be furious. Thank you for the £20 on the tippers there. Thank you, Ali Harris. You're going at the top of the list there, look. £20. Thank you very much for that. Thank you very much. Thank you for clarifying that. The news stories are focusing on being struck off. Yeah, it's language. It's language. It's very strange language as well, because he's not been struck off. He's been suspended. So they're deliberately making it sensational. I think they want to sell papers in the meantime. I think the newspapers will say, thank you for giving us an extended period of time before we announce what's happened to her. It gives us lots of time to sell lots of papers, have lots of theories. I also think that it gives the inquest time to do their job.
I couldn't be happier.
But the biggest negative...
And then whoosh!
Thank you, Morticia. The biggest negative is that it can be now swept under the carpet easier because of the break in time, because people's anger will have died down. I've got a great sense of humour. Thanks. Doing a bit of a serious one now, but yeah, I have. Thanks. Hopefully. You need to, because otherwise these things would absolutely drag you down. Like the weights in
again.
Nicola Bulley's pockets.
Happier. Swish and then whoosh.
Tiddlywinks. That's quite a name. Tinky Winks. You're with me on the red flags. They made Peter a scapegoat. They did kind of. It's a funny one, It's a funny one. The people that are surrounding the case, the police, they're not going to like Peter, are they? Like, he's turned up with his... I've said this before. He's turned up with his mega boat and his lovely coat, and he thinks he's the Jack the Lad and all this, but really, he's not official. He's not the police. So, if you turn up at a crime scene and like have better equipment than the police and you want to offer your services, they're going to be like, thanks, but no thanks. Like, leave us alone, you chuffer. Stop pretending to be a police. Like, they get angry about it. And it's all about ego, that is. His ego, their ego. All about ego. But ultimately, I don't think he's a bad chuffer because he wants to help find people in the river. So that's okay. You need to put your egos aside and do the best thing for the victims, don't you? Elliot, am I the example? Yes, I'm a really good chuffer, Elliot. I am. Have you seen Shannon Matthews, Elliot? All right, we'll stop talking to Elliot now unless he's got anything good to say. Tippied, Mitch Brady. Did I miss your tippies? I hope I don't miss your tippies. Or was that... Mitch, there, look. Mitch brought me a coffee. Love you chuffering away with positivity. Thank you. I'll try and be positive. I'll try and keep it light as well. I'll try and keep it light. Unlike Nicola Bulley, who obviously they tried to sink by weighing it down in that culvert. I mean, I want to say this as well. I want to take credit for this. Google Maps. A lot has been said about this. I'm going to wave my own flag here a bit. Google Maps. The maps, please. Thank you. Chuffing, stupid. She was found. What am I saying? She was found in the river, but there's this culvert. We're over here, St. Michael's on Wire. Let's have it like this. The river flows around here, and this is where the lay-by was. And we were looking at this, and we were saying about Emma's farm, weren't we? And there's this culvert. What happens is between these fields, you have drainage ditches. Need to find the exact place that we're looking at. Got this bend. We've got the lay-by, haven't we, somewhere up here? And I was saying, like, here's an example. This is the one I saw. Drainage from fields, they dig in between the fields, and there's this big ditch, and it fills up and it goes down. Sometimes it can be quite fast flowing. And it has these little culverts that lead, this one might lead under the river necessarily, or it might lead out into it here, you see? Under this bit of ground here and out into the river. It's like extra drainage. When the fields really get waterlogged, this that seems at the moment... Do you want to shut up with your booking? This at the moment seems to be like nothing, you know, it just seems to be like a ditch. But when it's full of water, when it rains heavy, that'll get full of water, and this will act as extra drainage into the river from the ditch. It's got a culvert there and a thing on the front, like a one-way valve, so the river doesn't flow back into it and flood your fields. Like, we raised this as a point. I was raising this when I was looking at the maps, where could she be? And since then, other people have made videos where they've actually been there and shown, I think it may be up this end, one of these culverts that was like, you know, it's been raised as there. She could have been there. She could have been hidden there. She would have still been in the water. She would have still been right next to the river. You wouldn't have been able to see her, and you could easily just open the door and she could float in. So that's been raised as an actual possibility now. I want to wave my own flag here and say this is something that, if you watch back our videos and you watch all the content I've done on Nicola Bulley, you will see that I said this could be the case. Could be from that. That's Marsh Farm Hall there, Emma's farm, Emma's place, Marsh Farm Hall. That's right behind it there. Just behind it in this field. So we actually looked at those, didn't we? We actually looked at those. I don't mind. You know what? In chat, right? In chat, I will not ban and block people unless they're really egregious. If they're bullying each other, if you're having arguments and someone's being mean to people, they're gone. If you're going to be homophobic or racist, you're gone. If you don't agree with what I'm saying, you can stay. You can disagree. That's fine. You know, that's absolutely fine. Otherwise, where are we going to get anywhere? I'm not. When we talk about the psychic, I've actually been talking last night, right? Last night, I was talking to someone who totally believes in all sorts of things that I don't necessarily have any evidence for or believe in. I'm not going to say, oh, you're an idiot. What I've done is I've been talking to them for hours last night, been really interested. And I'm going to get them on the show today. You know, we're going to do an episode on this stuff, maybe like the Mothman. It's American stuff. It's interesting. I might not believe it, but I want all the voices. And so that goes for the psychic episode that we're going to do tomorrow, the call-in. We're going to be talking about everything from tarot cards to... hopefully, you know, depending on what you call in and say, tarot cards to the Ouija board, to anything. I want to know your opinion. Psychics. Can psychics find Nicola? Did they find Nicola? Are they speaking to Nicola? What do you think of the psychic? Have you ever seen a ghost? Everything. Let's have your ideas and I'll react to them and I'll try and make a full show of it. So the more voices, the better, please, for that. The more voices, the better. We've got a few messages already. So get in there if you want to make sure your message is heard as well. So yeah, you saw that drain area. Yeah, you were on, weren't you, Mother Bear? Yeah, you've seen me saying. I'm blowing my own trumpet now because that's turned out to be a very real option, hasn't it? Let's see what Paul's saying. And what's he doing with his hands again?
Finding her.
On finding her and focus.
Finding her.
And get that out of the way, and then focus on
finding her.
On finding her and focus on the rest of it. So that's exactly what we did. You know, it was that was done, ruled out, obviously, and then move on. So, you know, whatever, you know, people want to say, and you know, if that's what they want to think, that's their business. It's not mine.
But I know you've also been struck by the amazing response locally, and you know, just being here for today, everybody's talking about it. Everyone's asking how you are, and the local community, whether they're standing out on the street corner or putting posters up or just asking questions, they are doing an amazing job.
Yeah,
very quick but stunted nodding.
Up or just asking questions, they are doing an amazing job.
Yeah,
and this is quite a strange one. It's almost like a non-expression. Like he's doing his poker face again. Like he's slightly pursing his lips, but not really. Maybe holding back a smile. That very fast nodding, though. Wants to get through this bit.
Yeah. It's absolutely incredible. Like,
it's absolutely incredible, and it causes him to pause again.
An amazing job.
Yeah. It's absolutely incredible. Like,
doing an amazing job.
Yeah. It's absolutely incredible. Like,
it's absolutely incredible. He's shaking his head as well. It's a very strange one, because I think what he's trying to do is throw us off by not projecting his facial expressions. So I should try and read into some subtext here, but again, he's not even giving me that. I don't think he thinks much of these people.
Questions. Yeah. They are doing an amazing job.
Yeah, it's absolutely incredible. Like,
it's almost, there's a squeak that comes out of him.
It's heartwarming. It's absolutely incredible. Like,
an amazing job.
Yeah, it's absolutely incredible. Like,
so he's actually holding back what he wants to say so much that it squeaks out. Holding back, and it squeaks out.
It's heartwarming. It's given us an immense amount of strength.
An immense amount of strength. That's been brought up before as well, hasn't it? This immense amount of strength. Big red flag. This concept that Nicola might have fought back and might have been stronger than he imagined. I still get the feeling, you know, that she's been fighting with Emma. Like, that she's discovered... I just get the feeling that Nicola had a fight with Emma and he broke it up. And instead of breaking it up and saying, Emma, get off my wife, he's done Nicola in instead. But here he's telling us that the local community have given him a lot of strength. Pillar of strength, yeah. Pillar of strength. Okay, I've got one on the top. I've got an idea in my mind, but I worry about it. Before we talked about drug dealing, like, briefly, he's been accused of, or it's been alluded to, I've said that his failed businesses stink of drug dealing. That, like, when you think you're a bit of a tough chuffer and you're rolling around with your cocaine boys, they all have these failed businesses where they're selling tickets to things or products or services that don't actually exist, and it's all just money laundering. Like, it's a big obvious red flag. The idea that the community might be your strength. And the pillar of salt. I'm thinking a pillar of salt, pillar of strength, pillar of salt. Lot turned his wife into a pillar of... God turned his wife into a pillar of salt because she looked back. And that's like white powders, like crystal powders. And I'm thinking, if you're selling drugs to the local community, they're your source of income. They're your strength. In fact, they kind of suck up to you a little bit. Like, you can bully them a little bit. Or maybe they... You know, some of the stronger characters, some of the local bully types, you know, the local bully boys, like, you know, if you're selling cocaine to people in the village and they're tough guy types, then this sort of language might sit. I'll tell you two problems I've got with it. One, I don't know enough to be able to really go down that avenue with Paul. Like, it might just be a suggestion here. But two is, I really don't want to get murdered by drug dealers, because out of all the people that people are scared of, yeah, you can be scared of the Masons. I think it's silly. You can be scared of, like, the ghosts. I think it's silly. Like, if there's a ghost, I'll come at me. Come at me, bro. Like, what are you going to do? Like, push the... I saw the kettle switch itself on. Oh my God, it's a ghost. Well, you can switch my kettle on for me then, or you can push my Ouija thing around, or you can... No, you can't push me around. I don't care. Like, I'm not scared. Yeah, I'm not a scaredy cat of things like that. But... like an actual drug dealer who's lost their marbles a bit and is on the cocaine and all that, they actually do fucking fuck people up. They might come around my house and smash my windows, you know. I don't want to be in that world having to fear for reprisal from drug dealers. So I'm certainly not going to want to go on the internet and sort of sleuth and out a load of drug dealers. That's the police's job. But I've just said what I've said, you know. I've just said what I've said, so...
It's heartwarming. It's
heartwarming.
Just asking questions. Yeah. They are doing an amazing job.
Yeah, it's absolutely incredible. Like, it's heartwarming. It's given us an immense amount of strength. And
I think heartwarming was the word that was scripted, because he's sort of is looking into this here, where he's looking away into the distance. He could also be looking toward Emma. In the idea, he's not looking at Emma because she's not holding up like the words, but like when he's thinking of the script that Emma is... Elliot's rude, can I block him? Absolutely, Sue, no problem. Elliot, you're going in timeout. You've been timed out. When you're allowed to return, if you continue, and I hear from chat that you have been continuing, it'll be a permanent block. You get 2 strikes. There's your first one. Time out. Yeah, so if Paul is looking at Emma, he's reading his internal script here. Like, they've obviously they've got together and decided what he should say. So now he's in his mind to decide, like, when he says that, it becomes less emotion as well. You don't have the emotion attached to your script. If you're not a good actor, you have to add that, and you're not good at it. So
it's absolutely incredible. Like, it's heartwarming.
It's heartwarming. It's heartwarming. Like, he's almost like dead inside while he says it. It's not heartwarming. It's nothing. That's your script.
It's given us an immense amount of strength.
Strength is the bit you're adding on, and you're doing the eyebrow raise.
And it's
and
kept
you don't have to talk any further now.
So strength, and it's kept that.
He looks up here.
It's given us an immense amount of strength.
Strength. It's a bit of surprise, but I believe it believes it.
And it's kept that.
Constructing or remembering things. Again, I think he's going to the script here. I think he's going to the script.
That hope.
Hope. Hope's a word that's come from the script, not his actual personal feelings. And again, when he delivers the word, you can see on his face, no expression. So these are scripted words that are designed to make him look innocent. When we're talking about the response from the public, it's obvious, isn't it? You're going to sit down. Okay, we're going to do the interview with Dan. What is he going to ask me about? He's going to ask me about X, Y, Z. One of the things that's going to come up is the public, and I'm going to say it's given me strength and heartwarming, and it's given me hope. They're the words I'm going to use, and I've delivered my script.
So high that we can't get that hope. So high.
So high. Breathing in before the so high.
And it's
nervous.
Kept that. It's heartwarming. It's given us an immense amount of strength, and it's kept that hope. So high.
Nervous. So high. I'm still I always thought when I first watched this, we did the big red flags. I really thought that this was. He kept indicating that she was up high somewhere. I think she was kept in the attic initially. I'm wondering if they've got water tanks in the attics, these old houses. Because the idea that you would keep someone and then transport them to the river, knowing that they would decay differently, it's insane. You would want them in the water the whole time. It would want to be river water, really. You know, your best bet is getting them in that Heidi culvert, isn't it? Like, and then release them like we've seen. But I get this idea that, like, on day one, you know, something happened and then they hid her upstairs and then they moved her. Because he keeps alluding to this height. And here we've got it again, Hope's high. High. It could have been water level, could have been a high water level, allowed them to get them into that culvert. And as the water level dropped, she became more visible, and he's thinking about the height of the water. Angela says a tarot reader said she was in the attic and then they killed her. Like I said, tomorrow's show is going to be all about the psychic. If you believe in tarot readers, please tell me what your experiences with them are, and whether you believe that they can lead us to Nicola. That's tomorrow's episode, The Psychic. I'll be really interested to hear those opinions, and we'll talk about them live on the old show.
That we can't thank them enough.
How are you keeping it? Is that?
We can't thank them enough.
That was split into two. We can't thank them enough.
So high that we can't.
We can't, and there's almost a tilt. Like, it's very subtle again. Look, he goes from head slightly back, more confidence, to tilt forwards and a bit of a shake. Very subtle. Look, see how he moves his head forward here and just like angles it slightly. It's subtle, but it's a difference, and we're having to look for subtle differences because he's really trying to restrict and retain. So what we can't do becomes slightly less confident, slightly more guarded, the thing that we can't do, and we shake our heads about it. With the public, there's something we can't do. He's added this on. This wasn't part of the script now. He does this stupid thing of talking too much.
And it's kept that hope so high that we can't.
I wonder if at this moment he can't move her body. We can't. It's almost like this. I actually really feel that this murder is in two parts. It's the flashpoint of something that's happened. Maybe he's had to run down there in his gym shorts, sort shit out. Then it's the cover-up. And there's like two parts to it, isn't there? There's the initial hiding of the body and covering it up and making it seem like everything's normal. And then later there's the hiding of the body so that it appears in the river and that it seems like it's been it's all there all along. So what we can't do at this very moment is go into the rest of our plan, divulge any more. You know, there's lots of things you can't do if that's the case. If it's not the case and you're innocent, then there's nothing you can't do with the public. You're 100% open and you just want to thank them as to the bottom of your heart. Not you can't thank them enough, but you just want to thank them to the bottom of your heart, you know? It's very easy to thank people. I've been doing it a lot today when people have been tipping me. You just honestly, from the bottom of your heart, just say thank you. You know, you just say what you feel. It's not hard. You can't. Why are you hiding something from the public? What is it you can't do with the public? Very strange.
Yeah, it's absolutely incredible. Like, it's heartwarming. It's given us an immense amount of strength, and it's kept that hope so high that we can't thank them enough.
We can't thank them enough, and thanking them enough. You know, the expression of thanks and gratitude that you see on Paul's face here is that he gets to close his eyes as he reads that last bit of sentence from the script, because now it's like closing your eyes like this. And I know it's only a brief expression, you know, okay, people blink.
I hope.
But look.
So high.
He blinked there. He did a blink there. It's very quick. That's a blink. Yeah, little blink.
That we can't thank them enough.
That was a closing of the eyes, an extended closing of the eyes while he's shaking his head. See the difference? This is not a blink. This is a big red flag. He's even raising his eyebrows at the same time, doing his expressions, but he's got his eyes closed. So there's a number of things that I'm going to read from that, number of red flags, and it's, you know, a very small thing, but it shows an immense mental stress that you've been going through while you've been speaking your piece. It shows that stress is too much. Like, you have to take a break from it and relax, almost like a micro sleep or something. You know, you want to close your eyes and just go away from it. It also screams of things that are hidden. He's hiding things. Things have been hidden.
Hope so high that we can't thank them enough.
We can't thank them enough. We close our eyes when we're talking about thanking them. We can't thank them enough. The thanking them is auto-speak, almost. And the idea that you can't thank them is weird. And the closing of the eyes I see as a problem. And then finally, you've got a sneer. A sneer like that. Condescension, classic condescension. He thinks the people that are looking for her are below him. Idiots in some way. Condescension.
How are you keeping it? Is that the kids? Is that your natural positivity?
Now we know the kids aren't even with him. Like, it was said, first of all, it was reported that the sister moved into his house and looking after the kids with him. And then after, it's come out that they moved the kids to a different house to be looked after by people who really love them. His words. Wendy's got some interesting ideas about tarot reading in chat. Make sure you get them into the speak pipe, because tomorrow's episode is going to be all about that, and I want to hear all your opinions on the speak pipe.
It's all of those things. Of course it's the children, of course. But I am naturally a positive person, and I believe that you get out of life what you put into life. And that's how we are as a family.
It's a bit... This all goes quite quick, doesn't it?
Natural positivity.
It's all of those things. Of course it's the...
What's the question?
Like, we can't thank them enough.
How are you keeping it? Is that the kids? Is that your natural positivity?
It's all of...
How are you keeping it? Not how are you keeping it together. How are you keeping it? So this could be a good one, because he could be thinking about how he's keeping the body hidden, how he's keeping things hidden. But then Dan gives him the kids. He throws the kids in there. Is it the kids? Yeah, of course, it's absolutely. I'm going to say what you said. So we lose the ability to read into Paul's feelings about how he's keeping it together, which would have alluded to how he's keeping Nicola's body. And instead, we get talking about the kids, please. And you know what you do when you talk about the kids, don't you? So
Is that the kids? Is that your natural positivity?
It's all of those things. Of course it's the children.
Your natural positivity?
It's all of those things. Of course it's that
he pauses on the and just checks into his feelings.
Of course it's the children.
Of course it's the children. And a shake of the head and a half smile. So again, like, I get this weird feeling from Paul that although he mentions the children all the time and he's like big on the children and all this, I get the feeling that in some ways they annoy him, and it's this condescension again in a way. It's like this, I think it might be a narcissism thing. I think it might be a narcissism thing. What do you think in chat? It's like this idea that like it's like a toy that he has that he plays with. It's a thing that he owns, like the kids and the family, and you know, yeah, of course that makes me happy. In theory, it makes you happy, but if that's what really makes you happy, why are you out boozing and cruising? Are you out boozing and cruising? You know, if you're big into this family life, I've had the great fortune at one point to date somebody who did have a young child. And whilst I wasn't their stepdad or anything, you know, just sometimes I was around, like, you know, casually introduced a little bit. But there was, you know, it's a great joy looking after children, isn't it? You don't sleep in and just can't be arsed because they're up. Right, they're up. What they do comes first all the time. But we know from Paul that, you know, Nicola gets up and does the kids, and he turns up just so that she can get in the shower and do her hair quickly before she has to take them to school. It doesn't. The things he's described in his routine don't scream, I love looking after my kids. But in this case, it's almost, I suppose, like a shield for him. You know, bit of a half sneer here. I'm a great family person. I love my kids. Aren't I good, chuffer?
Natural positivity.
It's all of those things. Of course it's the children, of course. But
and it's weird as well, isn't it? Because he described later that he couldn't face his children, that he couldn't put them to bed and tell them that they're looking for his mummy, and you know, all this stuff. It might actually be that looking at the children while their mother is missing is a source of anguish. But of course, it's the children.
It's all of those things. Of course, it's the children. Of course, but I am natural.
There's an eye roll.
All of those things. Of course, it's the children.
And this final one, of course. Like, he closes his eyes, and he's looking over there, auditory constructing.
But I am naturally a positive person.
I am naturally a positive person. He was checking what he was going to say before he said it. I am naturally a positive person. These things don't go together again. This is what Dan said to him. This annoys me now because Dan said it to him. So he's saying it back to Dan, and he's reconstructing it in his mind. And he's like, okay, this is fine to say.
And I believe that you get out of life what you put into life.
You get out of life what you put into life, and it's these hand gestures that we... Remember when he was on the previous red flagger, we said he did these hand gestures when he was talking about the gate and the dog and the gate. So it implies closing off, it implies defensive position behind the gate that I'm on, but it also implies like we're segmenting these things, like this is in this box, this is in this box, this is in this field, like nicely organised, lines drawn, gates.
I'm naturally a positive person, and I believe that,
and it was a half gesture that then went down, while he looks casually to the side at Emma again.
You get out of life what you put in.
You get out of life what you put in. But what you put in is where his hand drops down. So I don't think he puts much in, effort-wise. His hand has literally run out of energy.
I'm naturally a positive person, and I believe that you get out of life what you put into life.
Naturally drop down there, what you put into life. If you were going to be, I get out of life what I put into life, you might accentuate what you put in with a strong gesture, because what you're putting in is the strong bit, the big bit. But he's dropped his hand there, so maybe I don't agree with what he's saying here. I can't see his face in terms of lying, but he's saying you get out of life what you put in, but I'm thinking he might be thinking he's going to get out more than he puts in here.
And that's how we are as a family. And so what we're going through now is like unprecedented.
Unprecedented.
And so life. And that's how we are as a family.
That's how we are as a family.
You get out of life what you put into life. And that's how we are as a family. You get out of life what you put into life. And that's how we are.
Get out and put in. Okay, so get out and put in, I don't like.
You get out of life what you put into life.
Because we're thinking like hiding, putting, pulling, getting in, getting out. Putting things in and out of a car.
And that's how we are as a family.
That's how we are as a family.
You get out of life what you put into life. And that's how.
And that's half smile.
How we are as a family.
And then like slight confusion at the end again. I think what this alludes to, I mean, I find this one difficult, right? I think what this alludes to is that he's got a way of, like, and that's what we're like as a family. But we're not like that as a family, are we really? Because obviously all this shit's gone on. Like, this is one of those, right? We get in hindsight now, because we know that after this event, they said to the press that Nicola had mental problems, didn't they? And so we know that Nicola doesn't have mental problems, or did have, or what? Like, at this moment, he hasn't told us that she has. And what he said is that you get out what you put in, and that's what we're like as a family, which implies that everyone's working really hard and we're getting a lot out, isn't it? You know, that's what that implies. Or does it imply that we're not getting a lot out because we're not putting enough in? As a family. As a family, he's talking about Nicola. He's not talking about the kids, is he? The kids aren't putting their weight in this family. That's why we're not getting anywhere we need to go. Like, it's got to be just between him and, or is it other aspects of the family? Is it a wider family thing?
You get out of life what you put into life. And that's how we are as a family. And so what we're going through now is like unprecedented. And so what we're going through now is like
unprecedented. I find this bit really difficult.
And then whoosh!
Dan, did you fall off your bike? Dan sent me some tippies. I wonder if the edits Channel 5 made with Paul are due to Emma interrupting with her big mouth. That's a really interesting point, isn't it? You know, if you don't want, there's a really famous Jimmy Savile interview. I'll quickly show you this because it's just a bit of fun, and I'm finding this bit really difficult. So maybe if I come away from it and go back to it, it'll make it easier. Interesting stuff being said in chat. Interesting stuff. Jimmy Savile interview. We can do these, you know, we definitely can do these in the future, can't we? Jimmy Savile in this interview with, he's dead now, isn't he? Is he dead? I don't know. I never know whether people are dead or not. With Andrew O'Neill. Is he dead or has he just gone to Great Britain News? Andrew O'Neill. That's not him. A cult comedian. That looks like an interesting person. I'm getting my people mixed up. Anyway, in this interview on the BBC, thank you very much for the super sticker there. Little Happy Foxy. Thank you, Angie. $5, I think it is, Australian dollars. Thank you. Thank you. The one where he eats a banana. Exactly, Lucy and Milo, yes. He gets into a position here where they're asking about his sex life, or, you know, whatever. He gets into a position where they're asking difficult questions. Look.
60s and 70s of lots of lovers, lots of female company.
Oh, that's a long time ago. I've forgotten now.
You can't remember how many?
No, the marks I've got. Are there any marks there? I don't know.
No, they've healed rather well.
Oh, they're healed. Yeah, yeah.
But have you had lots of female
I would hope
relationships?
so, because being alive a long time, I would have hoped that one would have had lots and lots of them.
But
I've
you
got this
remember?
terrible... unfortunately, no, you see. I've got this... And anyway, I never have been a grass. And a gentleman never grass it on ladies as ever.
But we're not...
There's loads to dig into this, isn't there? Like, he's basically saying to Andrew O'Neill, you are being a grass, shut your fucking mouth. Andrew O'Neill's still with us, thanks. I always get it wrong. When the people are alive, I'm always like, I think they're dead. And whenever they're not dead, I think I'm always...
asking for names.
With media people like this, it is. If they've gone off the telly for a bit, I'm like, they must be dead.
We're just asking for the general principle.
Oh, so I mean...
So he opens the banana, look. Yeah, he opens this banana. Now, the reason Jimmy's doing this is because there's a rule on television, which is that you don't show people putting food in their mouth. You're not going to... Like, the minute that banana comes out, he, in his brain, Jimmy Savile here in his brain, because he's done television, he's thinking, this is all on the cutting room floor now. This is scrap. I'm eating a banana, they will not show it. They do show it, but he assumes it's like a way of taking control of this situation, because he thinks it's like if they were making a program and someone ate something He's seen it in the edit. Someone's shown him in the edit. We don't show people putting food in their mouth on the BBC.
So if you live this sort of playboy life of the DJ?
Yeah, give or take.
now he's...
lady. But I mean, you know, a gentleman doesn't ever speak of ladies. I mean, I don't know where you come from. I mean, I don't know what your circles are, but my circles.
And he kind of relaxes now a bit, like, because he's eating the banana. People are laughing at him as well, aren't they? He's totally changed the tone of what's happening.
Ladies are very... You don't grass on them. No.
All my mother ever taught me was not to eat while I was talking, but that was another issue.
Andrew even says it because he knows it's a problem.
Bananas weren't around in those days.
Why have you shied away from close relationships with women?
I'm quite happy to have a few close relationships tonight, if anybody's not spoken for.
So, anyway, that's the brutal and disgusting Jimmy Savile. But that's what he does there, isn't it? He tries to eat the banana to control the situation, to write off that part of the interview. Interesting. We'll have to do some episodes on Jimmy, won't we, at some point? We will have to. I'm finding this part of this very difficult. I'll just be honest, you know, I find it difficult to get a read on this.
Children, of course. But I am naturally a positive person. And I believe
I don't think you are.
You get out of life what you put into life. And that's how we are as a family. And so what we're going through now is like unprecedented.
What we're going through now is like unprecedented. I mean, it is unprecedented, such a fucking weird word to use. What's unprecedented? Never known, never done or known before. Well, yeah. Excuse me. T's repeating on me today. Yeah, it's not been done or known. I would agree with you there. It's unprecedented, but I wouldn't say unprecedented. My loved one's missing. It's unprecedented. It's such a weird word to use, isn't it? Such a weird word. It's almost like a... It's almost like I want to say it's like bureaucratic. It's more thought out, isn't it? You don't just come out with unprecedented, do you? Or do you? Is this scripted again, maybe? Or has he heard this being said by somebody else?
And so what we're going through now is like unprecedented.
It's like unprecedented. And he shrugged his shoulders and raised his eyebrows for it.
Hell.
But that hell, right? Unprecedented hell. What?
What we're going through now is like unprecedented hell, but that hope.
Oh, okay. But that hope. Okay, so we've got the script. What we're going through is hell, but we've got hope, and he's inserted unprecedented. That's what I'm thinking.
And that's how we are as a family. And so what we're going through now is like unprecedented hell, but that hope and that positivity in me is stronger than ever, and I'm never ever going to let go. Nikki would never. In me is stronger than ever, and I'm never ever going to let go.
I'm never ever going to let go. That's kind of aggressive, isn't it? Makes me think of strangling. Or it also makes me think of the idea that Nikki wanted to leave and he would refuse to let her go. What we're going through is unprecedented hell. We still have hope. There's so much in here as well, isn't it? We're going through hell. Yeah, okay, I get that. But are you going through hell because you know she's dead? Have you been going through hell because she's got these problems and wants to leave? It's unprecedented. Unprecedented. It wasn't unprecedented, was it? If she was going to leave the week before and they had the welfare check out, that's... Maybe it's unprecedented that the welfare check... Unprecedented. I hate the word used here. Hate it.
And that positivity in me is stronger than ever, and I'm never ever going to let go.
In me, it's stronger than ever.
And that positivity in me is...
That positivity in me is stronger than ever. Although it doesn't look it, does it? We're talking about... We're looking for your missing wife. And apparently the positivity in you is stronger than ever. Stronger than ever. Stronger than Nikki, maybe.
Hell. But that hope and that positivity in me is stronger than ever, and I'm never ever going to let go. Nikki would never.
Nikki would never. Nikki would never. That's past tense. We talked about it before. I'm going with that. It's past tense. Nikki never lets. Nikki doesn't do this. Nikki does or doesn't do this. She would never. She would never.
Me is stronger than ever, and I'm never ever going to let go. Nikki would never.
There's even a slight narrowing of the eyes on the mention. It's like, 'cause he doesn't mention her a lot. He doesn't mention her a lot. And when he does mention her, there's this narrowing of the eyes. I'm going to check the internet for that one. I'll tell you, narrowing of the eyes. I think it's reading what the other person is reflecting back. Like, does he believe me when I'm saying this stuff? When I mention Nicky, what does he look like when he's doing it? I think it's like trying to read the other person. Usually it's a negative response showing that he finds what you're saying to be offensive. Offensive. Distaste. And it's unpleasant, okay? Finding it distasteful, unpleasant.
And that positivity in me is stronger than ever, and I'm never ever going to let go. Nikki would never give up on us ever. Going to let go. Nikki would never.
There's this huge pause.
Positivity in me is stronger than ever, and I'm never ever going to let go. Nikki would never give up on us ever.
So that moment.
Never going to let go. Nikki would never.
This moment, in his mind, he's got something that she would never. She's not prepared to. She would never. And he can't say it, so instead it gets moderated to.
Give up on us ever.
Give up on us.
Never ever going to let go.
Give up on us. Give up on us.
And that positivity in me is stronger than ever, and I'm never ever going to let go. Nikki would never give up on us ever.
What would Nikki do?
Ever going to let go. Nikki would never.
Nikki, distaste, disgust. Nikki would never. So I'm reading this as, like, in chat there, good point, never going to let you go, never going to let you. I'm reading this as Nick. I'm almost reading this as like there's two Nickys, right? There's the Nicky that he thinks he's married, that he wants, that he's got control of, that he's believing, you know, his Nicky. And then there's the Nicky that came out and revealed herself to him. I want to leave. I want to do it. No, Nicky wouldn't do that. You're not the real Nicky. You're getting your head bashed in, sort of thing. Like, Nicky would never. The context is we're talking about this strong family unit who's positive and pulled together. Nicky would never. I would never let her go. Nicky would never leave. I think.
Positivity in me is stronger than ever, and I'm never ever going to let go. Nikki would never.
Nikki would never give up, give in, back down. I'm not letting go. She would never back down. Get her own way. I don't know. I think there's quite a lot here. There's quite a lot here, and I think this one smells of they've had a huge row. And do you know what? Even on this one, right? I'm going to highlight this. I've paused it. I'm lucky that we did. You see how his one eye is going off on that direction and the other eye's not? See how his two eyes are not looking in the same direction? Stuff can do that to you. The causes of eye misalignment are various and unknown. Obviously, thyroid disease, cataracts, eye injuries. We're not looking at that. It is a disconnection between, like, your eyes are connected to your brain, and we're talking about some sort of disconnection here, maybe. Cranial nerve. You know, we're talking about something going on in the brain, but the reason this comes up as well is if I put, like, cocaine, for example, the illicit drugs' effects on the eye, it's been widely studied that it can affect these pathways, optic nerves, eye muscles in different ways. Alcohol can lead to dilated pupils, vision disturbances. You know, it could be some sort of illicit substance that's causing this, or a hangover from such. But it is a strange one. I'll say that. I'll say it's a strange one.
Give up on us ever. She wouldn't give up on anybody. and we're not going to...
Maybe it's just the camera angle.
...give up on us ever. She wouldn't give up on anybody.
She wouldn't give up on anybody. Gets like almost a wink, like the eyes completely closed here. You see how the one eye is doing something different from the other? I'm calling that. I'm saying that red flag. The one eye is even looking further over to the side, and when he does the wink, blink, it gets closed more than the other. You see, like this is like I'm saying to the point of it being like trying to keep two things in your brain at the same time is so difficult. Having this thing that you're hiding in the back of your brain is so difficult. Like it's almost like I don't want to use a word like schizophrenia or something, you know, but it's almost like a broken mind here. I'm finding it. I would expect to see that on someone who suffered a great trauma, maybe.
Nikki would never give up on us ever. She wouldn't give up on anybody, and we're not going to ever give up on her. Like
we're not going to ever give up on her.
She wouldn't give.
As Ron, I haven't done Ron too much. Did a little bit of Ron, but I'm not really. I'm a bit with it, but I don't know.
Give up on anybody.
We might do it if we've got time.
And we're not going to ever give up on her. Like we're going to find her.
Okay, I need to watch this, just let him run, and then I need to break this down. There's probably quite a lot in here, and I'm probably not going to get it all on first pass, so let's just get it.
Nikki would never give up on us ever. She wouldn't give up on anybody, and we're not going to ever give up on her. Like we're going to find her.
We were talking...
Such a small part of it, but it's really a crucial part, isn't it? It's really a crucial part.
Give up on us ever. She wouldn't give up on anybody.
She wouldn't give up on us. She wouldn't give up on anybody. So now we're distancing her from our family. In that one simple sentence. She wouldn't give up on us, as in us is me and the kids. Yeah? Or is it just me? It's me and the kids. She wouldn't give up on us. But from what we learned, from what he said later, she was feeling like she wanted to give up on you. You had the mental problems, you had the, you know, this... You know it's a lie, or you're saying it here, like there's all these problems, but then she wouldn't give up on anybody. Well, who else is she going to have to give up on? And what do you mean? Does she still hold the torch for somebody? Oh, okay, I'm saying this. She might... there was a lot of red flags in Emma's language that came surrounding the idea of holding a torch, the concept of holding a torch. In that interview, I raised it as the idea that she might have been physically holding a torch, trying to hide something in the dark, or also that Emma might have been having... There's a phrase in English for holding a torch for someone means having a burning love that you maintain even though, you know, time and distance, you know, you still hold this torch for them, you still have this love for them, and it might not be you can ever be together, but you hold a torch for them, you know, you hold out hope. So this idea of holding out a torch came up before, and now we're saying that she wouldn't give up on us, she wouldn't give up on anyone. Maybe Nicola holds a torch for somebody, maybe, you know, I just relate it to my own life. Like my mom used to talk about her ex-boyfriend, and my dad would say, "Oh, you know, you're fucking talking about this ex-boyfriend," and like, you know, and then after my dad and my mom broke up, like with her new boyfriend, she'd talk about my dad, and he'd be like, "Oh, you're talking about your old boy," you know. Like sometimes people, it might seem, even though they're happy in their current situation, it might still, they might, you know, Nicola might have got an old childhood love that never worked out, and she kind of still holds a torch for them in some way, and this angers him. Nicola wouldn't give up on us. She wouldn't give up on anybody, i.e. she wouldn't give up on that other chuffer. And I want her to give up on him because he's another chuffer. I don't want... Like, who's these other people? Who are these anybodies that she won't give up on? Like, is she that charitable and Samaritan-like that she's out there, you know, not giving up on people? Or who are these people that she's not giving up on? These other people.
Give up on us ever. She wouldn't give up on anybody.
She wouldn't give up on anybody. On anybody. She wouldn't give up on anybody. Is it that she wouldn't give up? They were having a fight about you've been doing this. She wouldn't give up her position in the fight. She wouldn't give up on the idea that she's just going to let it go with Emma or somebody else. She wouldn't give up this row, this struggle, this squabble. Is that it? She wouldn't give up what I wanted her to yield. She wouldn't give it up. She wouldn't give up. You know, Nicola, shut up, give up, do what I say. She wouldn't give up, so I had to keep bullying her. You know, is it that? I find it very, very difficult. Rachel saying in chat, Nikki would never leave me. Yeah. Give up. Like, maybe it took a long time to strangle her or to smother her. She wouldn't give up. Has Paul had something around his neck? I feel his neck is very red in this interview, yes. But... but it does look very red. I think it's also part of the fact that he's very flushed. He's very red. Like, actually, it's a good point of calling it here as well. It got to the point now where even his neck is flushed, isn't it? Even his neck is starting to go red. Lots of blood pumping through his face at this juncture, talking about Nikki would never give up. You know, I think it's obvious that there's been a struggle. That's what I'm saying for this. I'm going to say it's obvious there's been a struggle. Like a physical struggle between them.
That positivity in me is stronger than ever.
And it's around their marriage. It's the concept of the marriage. It's the positivity in him stronger than ever. Imagine she's not missing. Imagine he's just giving us a bit of information about his marriage.
But that hope and that positivity in me is stronger than ever. And
You want to keep together. You want to stay together and have the marriage.
never, ever going to let go.
I'm never going to let go.
Nikki would never give up on us, ever.
Nikki would never leave me. The Nikki I know, the Nikki I'm visualising in my mind would never give up on us. Go back to being that Nikki. Do you know what I mean?
She wouldn't give up on anybody. And we're not going to ever give up on her. Like, we're going to find her.
And we're not going to ever give up on her like we're going to find her. The half-cocked smile, the confidence here, almost a sneer. He knows we're going to find her, I believe, because, this is a red flag to me because he's going to make it sure that we find her in due course, in due time. We're going to find her when he's ready for her to be found, we think.
Give up on anybody. And we're not going to ever give up on her. Like,
we're not going to ever give up on her.
We're going to find her.
Like, we're going to find her. Not we're going to find her alive. She's going to come back. She's going to come back. A total confidence that we're going to find her. She's going to be found, discovered. Not she's going to turn up. She's going to come back. She's going to call me. We're going to find her. Discover her. So that's a bad red flag because it implies that he's not thinking she's still alive. He's assuming she's dead because we're going to find her dead. You would find her dead. You wouldn't. You don't find her in the Travelodge sleeping with some guy. Maybe you do. Or that would be catch her. We're going to catch her. We find her. She comes. We're going to find her when she returns home. No, she's going to return. She's going to come back. All this sort of stuff. I don't like that.
Give up on anybody, and we're not going to ever give up on her. Like, we're going to find her.
We're not going to ever give up on her. That implication, now knowing afterwards that there's this consideration of mental problems, we're not going to give up on her, might be that Nicola has told me that she doesn't want to be married anymore. She's told me that her mental health has deteriorated, but I'm not going to give up on her. I'm going to keep trying to fix her and have our marriage work. It could be that.
On anybody, and we're not going to ever give up on her. Like, we're going to find her.
I.e., I wouldn't concede and allow her to have her opinions. She was telling me she's got problems and she might not want to, I need a break from this marriage, and he wouldn't let it I'm not going to give up on you. I'm not going to allow you to have that. I'm going to keep badgering you to stay and do what I want and all that sort of business. Maybe that.
Talking earlier, and you were saying that one of the plans you had was to get married during the pandemic, but you sort of, like many people, you had to abandon those plans. Is that something that you think, when she's back, this is...
He gives us body language before the question's finished.
Those plans. Is that something...
Chewing his lips. The half nod, the stutter nod. The anxiety.
That you think, when...
A pushing up of the lips. Which is childish confidence, aggression.
When she's back...
The big release of anxiety, the breathe out, the sigh, the shake of the head, the I don't know, I don't understand, it's beyond me, it's over my head.
Abandon those plans. Is that something that you think, when she's back?
It's like so far, like, it's almost like he's saying to you, what do you think about getting married to Nikki? And he's like, that's gone completely out the window. Like, that's so far off the table. out at the local restaurant, mate. Down on it's so far off the table. The dog's taken it out into the garden and buried it. Like it's married, mate.
Abandon those plans. Is that something that you think, you know, when she's back, this is what we're doing?
Yeah,
yeah. What's that smile? This is where they hate this smiling in it. When she's back, that's what we're doing, yeah. The sly side eyes, constructing sounds, constructing.
Think, you know, when she's back, this is what we're doing.
Yeah,
lick of the lips.
This is what we're doing.
Yeah,
real poke out of the tongue there. Poking out the tongue, like I said, childish. Confidence, condescension, childish. Just quickly reference this. Poking out tongue. Body language. And you might just have a dry mouth, but being rude, mocking, disgusted, taunting, teasing, playful, cute, flirtatious or sexual. Don't know about that, but we've got this poke out of the tongue. Duping, delight, pure contempt. Yeah. Do you know what? We're at a point now where the interviewer has just talked about whether you're going to find your dead wife and please come home and all that. He didn't say the please come home and all that business. We got through it. We got past it. Now we're on to you're a good chuffer and you were going to get married. Oh, relax. Okay, I can tell you about like wedding plans that we were going to have. Like it was almost like a slight shock and surprise on his face. We've got over that quick now. We're on to this easy bit, maybe. Red flag, yep, red flag.
I'm far too laid back sometimes for my own good, but also my attitude is, you know, we'll get around to it. It'll be fine. And
I'm far too laid back for my own good. For my own good, meaning I'm so laid back it's caused me problems. Meaning me and Nicola have had arguments about this and I'm the one that's laid back that doesn't give a shit, and Nicola, for my own good, you know, too laid back for my own good, it's caused problems. But now there's the relief, isn't there? Because he knows he's not going to marry her because she's dead. So he was right to not marry her, and he gets his own way, and it's all gone well for Paul.
But also my attitude is, you know, we'll get around.
My attitude is,
it'll be fine, and
we'll get round to it. That worked. My attitude to it, like my attitude to it, my technique of getting through without having to. Oh, you know, we'll talk about that some other time. We'll talk about that later. My attitude, I want to say not defense mechanism, but what I did to avoid talking about it and actually having to get married worked. Smiley face.
So we have obviously spoken about, you know, marriage many times before. And then we had the children. When your children are, you know, obviously, you know, little, it's, you know, all time consuming.
Lots of stuttering and this is all basically, he didn't want to get married to Nicola. He's avoided getting married to Nicola. These are his arguments and reasons for why he didn't get married to Nicola. And he's happy, Jupiter's delight, all that. You know, he swerved it and he's trying to make himself look good. He's not saying
it's
when the kids were young.
I couldn't be happier. Swish and then swoosh.
Like yeah, he's making him. Narkslayer Ordbot sent me some tippies. Yeah, he's making himself look good here, and he's happy that he's doing so. You know, it's an opportunity for Paul. Paul, tell me about what a good chuffer you are, and about how you were going to be doing that marriage and being a good person. But you know, all from your side, Paul, not from Nicola's side. This is an argument they've had in the past. Love this. Agreeing with micro expressions analysis. I'm wasted on YouTube. Someone wants to tell Paul that his face is full of positivity. Yes, absolutely. Thank you very much for the £6 there. Really appreciate that. With the fencing, little fencer on it as well. I like that.
And then as they were growing up, we always said when they're a bit older, you know, be a nice time to do it, and they can be a part of it.
There's this controlling hands thing again. Moving things into different places. Not just mentally, but physically with his hands. I imagine, like, it's a bit of a weird one to say, but because all parents have to do this with their children. But I think Paul, rather than saying, "Come on, it's time to get in the car," I think you'd just rather just pick him up, put him in the car. Like, I think there's some like actual physical handling of his life here.
He said when they're a bit older, you know, be a nice time to do it.
Oh, Big Bam Bam's back. You're in now. You can join. Wonderful. There are no restrictions on anyone here, so I hope that everyone does get a chance to talk and be part of it, yeah?
And they can be a part of it.
A part of it.
You know, be bridesmaid.
A part of it's funny as well, because a part, it means a part of it, like, you know, a mechanical part of it, but it also means a part, like you could say separate from it. And he does this movement with his hands.
You know, be a nice time to do it, and they can be a part of it.
Like putting them there.
They can, you know, be the bridesmaid.
And then he's doing this covering motion again. This is where I was worried that Nicola's been put somewhere and he's covered her up in some way.
You know, be a nice time to do it, and they can be a part of it. They can, you know, be the bridesmaid.
Maybe he's touching two heads. Maybe he's rubbing their heads.
And everything. So that was always the plan. And so, you know.
Big deep breath. And why is that not the plan anymore,
and
Paul?
Everything. So that was always the plan. And so.
Why is that not the plan, Paul? Why is that not the plan? Big deep breath, half smile. It's almost like the way he breathed in made him smile as well. Shake of the head, moment for pause.
You know, it's just now.
Just now is just now. Almost raised his voice on that and it got a smug expression.
And so, you know, it's just now.
And so it's just now is just now. I think just now is just now are just really weird words that he's just used to fill in, because what he wants to say is they were our plans and we had these ideas to put the kids in when we were going to get married and all this, and obviously now it's not happening. Smug, happy, confident, now it's not happening. He's got his way, but instead he said just now is just now.
Of it, they can, you know, be the bridesmaids and everything. So that was always the plan. And so, you know, it's just now.
Now then, just gone viral. Now then.
And so, you know, it's just now. You know, it's something that we would have obviously, you know, spoken about and moved forward with again, but.
It's something we would have spoken about and moved forward with again. This is really weird. He's doing this bit again where he's doing too much talking. He could have finished that bit about marriage, but he's going over it and doing too much talking. And this is really guilty knowledge. This is really a red flag, this one.
You know, spoken about it and moved forward with again, but.
It's something that we would have spoken about and moved forward with again, but. Just take that sentence. Imagine none of the rest of this interview. None of it. Nicola's missing. You're looking for her. Nobody knows where she is at this moment. And you say, we would have moved forward with getting married, but what? We will move. As soon as she returns, I'm going to marry her. We were planning on doing it when the girls are older, but now I realise how precious life is, because having her away from me for these weeks, not knowing where she is, the minute she returns, that ring is on the finger. We're up the aisle, mate. We're married. I can't think of a world without her. It's tearing me apart. God, I wish I'd married her before. And now when she returns, I will do. You know, that's not what he's saying. What he's saying is that because she's missing, obviously now it's all off. What? How would you know it's all off if she could return at any moment and fall into your arms and, you know, happily ever after? Why is it all off?
It was always the plan. And so.
It's raining again.
You know, it's just now. You know, it's something that we would have obviously, you know, spoken about it and moved forward with again, but and still will. And still will.
He realises what he said and he changes it, and he like almost goes, oh, you know, like I should have known the answer. Oh, I've made a fuck up there. Oh, he's made a fuck up there. Thank you for the tippies. Mia, red face, guilty. Yeah. I've seen paler strawberries. You know, Prince Harry don't go as red as this, does he?
Spoken about it and moved forward with again, but and still will.
And still will. Fuck. He realises he's fucked up there.
It's something that we would have obviously, you know, spoken about it and moved forward with again, but.
And he stuttering over it because he's in uncertain ground here, because he's speaking too much and he's having to think on his feet.
And still will.
And still will. Oh dear.
There is a chance.
Now, I'm going to play that one more time. I'm going to quickly grab a chocolate soy milk from the other room. I'm going to play that one more time. That is such a red flag. That is a huge one. It's so huge that, like, arrest him on the spot, surely, at this juncture. Like, with hindsight, it's even easier. But he's basically saying that they were going to get married, and now, because of all this, they're not.
It's just now. You know, it's something that we would have obviously, you know, spoken about it and moved forward with again, but and still will.
There is a chance, isn't there, that somehow she might be out there even watching this. If you could say something to her, what would you say to Nikki now?
Just how much...
I mean, obviously, that first laugh. What would you say to Nikki now? I'll tell you what's weird about this one is that the obvious answer... I mean, I don't want to repeat myself too much, and I can't really remember what I said the first time we watched this through, but I'm definitely going heavy red flag on this, is that he's looking down into his feelings for real for this. And it's almost like a reflective moment where, after all is said and done, now she's dead, what would you say to her? You know, that moment for pause and reflection. Ridiculous. Ridiculous. At this moment, you hope she's alive. You hope she's going to watch this broadcast. You hope she's out there somewhere. You hope. That's what you kept saying, hope. So, what would you say to her is you would look straight down the camera and say, Nicola, Nikki. You'd start, it wouldn't be, Nicola. Right, this is your opportunity to talk to her. You've been dying to talk to her for the last week because she's missing. All you want to do is talk to her. Do you know what I mean? That's all you want to do is just be able to reach out to her and talk to her. Nikki, please come home. But he doesn't do that. He looks down into his feelings and has a reflective moment. He's angry and slightly disgusted as he does so. He blames Nicola for this. Whatever's happened, he blames Nicola for this. And he shakes his head and he scans. See those eyes scanning there, from feelings to checking out maybe the script. The eye scan to me is not good. It's like looking at options. I could say this, I could say this. This is what I think, this is what I might say. These things are really terrible.
What would you say to Nikki now?
Just how much...
There was even a bite of the lips.
And
she might be out there even watching this. If you could say something to her, what would you say to Nikki now?
He's like, You know, he made it clear she might be watching this.
Say something to her. What would you say to Nikki now?
Just how...
Just. So you use the word just because you don't have the words ready and you're not prepared to say them. So you're using like a filler word. Just, maybe I would, just,
Just...
And also just means this is the only thing I'm prepared to say. I'm just going to say this. I'm not going to say that. I would just say this.
How much?
We're staring into the void. This is him trying to remember the lines. There was even that squeak again. Pathetic. Pathetic, man.
Just how much I love her.
Oh, yeah, how much I love her. That's it. That's the right answer from the script. Yep, got that.
How much us as the family love her and need
How much us as the family love her, shaking the head and need her. So you don't believe that.
How well thought of, how much her friends love her.
Looking out now around the room, panicking. Now literally panicking, looking for help around the room. Her friends, Emma. But then thinking, I can't look straight at Emma while I'm delivering these lines. It's going to throw me right off.
Us as the family love her and need her. How well thought of, how much her friends...
You know, he's looking out and around here at these other people. But instead of getting this feeling of support and positivity back, it's causing him more panic. So he looks quickly away again.
Friends love her And
there's almost a half smile and a cock of the eyebrow here because they're helping him. Those people are part of the fact that he's not getting caught. They're like, you know, he's looking out and casting out. What would you want to say to Nicky? What do you want to say to Nicky? Your mum wants to say something to you, Nicky. She wants, you know, let's look at what everyone else is saying. Let's point away from me and deflect. And if we do, then it comes worse. It's not so bad on me. Like, at what point have you got any thought in your mind for any other person other than your direct heart-to-heart with Nicky that you have? What do you want to say to her? Nicky, I want to say come home. Nicky, love, I love you. Please come home. That's what you do. You look straight into the camera. You do none of this. None of this.
How well thought of, how much her friends...
How well thought of.
Friends love her.
How well thought of. How much her friends love her. Are you doing a eulogy now?
And need her back.
Need her back, which is not going to happen. Of course, you know it's not going to happen. So that causes you to stop and take a little bit of stock, doesn't it? Because you might feel a pang of guilt at that moment because you're the person responsible for her not coming back, i.e. the children. Does that make you feel a little bit of guilt, maybe?
And need her back. And we're never going to be the same.
And we're never going to be the same again. What he meant to say there, but he stopped himself, is, and we're never going to get her back.
Her friends love her. And need her back. And we're never going to be the same until...
We're never going to be the same, but you mean you could be the same if she just came back and everything went back to normal, but you know you're not going to be the same. We're never going to be the same, shows guilty knowledge. Loving the streams, you're brilliant. Did you know Nicola was previously married to a man named Simon Booth, who's now engaged to someone from Corrie? No, I didn't, and thanks for saying it. I strictly, for my feelings on it, go on what I know for a fact has come out of their mouths. Like, certain facts and ideas, and if I saw the marriage certificate and I saw a picture of them at the wedding, I'll believe it, I guess. But I didn't know it, and I think you might know it, but thanks for telling me. You know, in my heart and my world, I'll like listen to what people say like you, and I'll be like, oh, that's interesting. But in terms of what I'm going to broadcast on the internet as facts, unless I have the, you know, hard facts, I'm not going to... it's just a thing that is now in the ideas space as well. So thanks for that, but I didn't know, no. Oh, this is awful for Paul, saying that she's not going to come back.
And we're never going to be the same.
We're never going to be the same.
Until she is back.
Until she is back. Right. We're never going to be the same until she's back. We're never qualifies, never, forever, never. Angie, $5 from, is that Australia? Thank you, thank you. Never going to be the same until she comes back. So we're not going to be the same until she comes back. We're awaiting her arrival. Things are on hiatus. We're not the same. Things are on pause. Not we're never going to be the same. There's a fat line drawn there. That's it. Drawn. Done. We're not the same anymore. Move on. Breaking the thing. Never. Never again. Not never again. But then when she comes back, oh, again. Not never anymore. So never's the wrong word. But you've said it, and then you've thought, shit, I'm saying this stuff, and then you're back to it until she comes back. So it's like somebody just going off and teetering off and then bringing it back. And then someone just going off and teetering off and then bringing it back. That's a big red flag, Paul.
We're never going to be the same until she is back. Just come home.
Are you going to be okay?
Do you see the way the final statement, just come home? Yeah. That's what you should have said at the start. What do you want to say to Nicky? Come home. And he knows it's on the script, so at the end he says it. But it doesn't say, like, he's not talking to Nicky. We're never going to be the same until she comes back. Who's she? Nicky. So you're not talking to Nicky, and then you say, just come home. So it's like he's confused about how to deliver the script. He knows what the script is supposed to say and the idea. Like, they've sat down. You're not going to be the same until she comes home. Just come home. You know, and he's reading you are, but he doesn't want to say you're not going to be the same. So he says we're not going to be the same. You know, he's reading the script from like a third person perspective about himself and about himself. And then it's Nicky at the end. Nicky, come home. Like, what are you on about, mate?
Something we would have obviously, you know, spoken about it and moved forward with again, but and still will.
There is a chance, isn't there, that somehow she might be out there, even watching this, if you could say something to her, what would you say to Nikki now?
Just how much I love her, how much.
Just how much you see. What I would say to her is just, I would say this to her. This is what's so fucked up, okay? This is hugely fucked up from Paul. He's answering the question legit. Let me ask you, what would you say to Abraham Lincoln? What would you say to Abraham Lincoln? Oh, I would say, you've done a very good job freeing all the slaves and stuff like that. Or, you know, do you see what I mean? What I would say to Abraham Lincoln, I'd think about that. What would I do if I was speaking to Abraham Lincoln? He's asking you to speak to her directly down the camera. What do you want to say to her? And in his mind, she's dead. So instead of saying directly down the camera, Nikki, this and this, he's saying, I would say this and this. If I wasn't guilty, if she wasn't dead, I would say, what's the name of that guy again who fell off his bike? Ben, or is it Simon, or whatever his name is? He's telling the interviewer what he would say. He's not saying it to Nikki. He's telling him what he would say. He's literally answering the question. But that's not really what the question is asking. The question is, what would you say? I.e., say it. She could still be alive. Say it. He's living in a world of, if she was still alive, I would say this. Not, she could be alive, I am going to say this. He's fallen into, it's almost like a trap. Maybe it's Dan, isn't it? Dan, that's right, Dan. Thank you in chat. Thank you in chat. Maybe it's Dan. Maybe Dan has done a really good one here. A really good question. What would you say has led him, it's like a little trap. What he's supposed to say is not what I would say to her, I am going to say it to her. I want to say it to her. I've not been able to speak to Nicola for weeks now. This was 2 weeks, wasn't it? I haven't been able to speak to her for 2 weeks. I'm desperate to talk to her. I've got so much to say to her. I'll look down the camera and I will say it all. But he's not done that. He's missed his chance. Instead, he's revealed that he believes in a world where he, very perceptive. I hope justice is served for Nicola. Yeah, I do hope she's justice for Nicola. That's the main thing, isn't it? Thank you very much for the tippies, Lorna. I shouldn't have closed that window. I need that window open. Thank you very much. And yeah, I think he's living in a world where the things that he wants to say to Nicola are ifs, buts, woulds and coulds. They're now not possible. They're not realities. He can't really say it to Nicola. He knows he can't say it to Nicola. So instead he says what he would say.
Nikki now.
Just how much I love her, how much us as a family love her and need her, how well thought of, how much her friends love her and need her back, and we're never going to be the same until she is back. Just come home.
The just come home.
Are you going to be okay?
The just come home is so, like, that's the whole crux of this, isn't it? Like, there's so many moments here that I've said the big crux, but just come home should be your campaign. Like, that's you should have been so sick of shouting it. It should have been the first words on your lips. The way he just throws that away at the end, literally throws it away at the end.
We're never going to be the same until she is back. Just come home.
Just come home.
And until she is back. Just come home.
Are you going to be okay?
I will.
This one's really weird as well, because I focused on Dan the first watch. I was like, what a cheeky question, what a weird thing to say, and the way he sits there and smiles at him. Very weird. But what I find even more weird now is the way that Paul just doesn't answer and sort of nods at him gently, and then kind of like realises that he's doing a TV interview. I think Paul might be a bit stupid. Yeah, I think he might not be as smart as he thinks he is. And I think this was actually Paul answering the question for reals.
Just come home.
Are you going to be okay?
Look, he kind of nods here. I think that's him just answering, yeah, I'm going to be okay. And then he's like, shit, I'm actually doing an interview. I've got to answer this with my mouth. I've got to say something. So now he starts talking.
I will, as long as she comes home.
And he didn't, yeah.
I will, as long as she comes home.
very high-pitched, lots of stress.
I will.
It's this. It's almost like he can't get his words out again, isn't it? It's almost like he's being choked up in some way. This one's weird as well because he's looking into remembering sounds. So he's either thinking about things people have said to him or he's said to people. This is neurolinguistic programming eyes. Again, it might not be real. You know, you can't just say the eyes look this way, therefore this. But he might be haunted by things he's heard. Are you going to be okay? How do you sleep at night? You know, if he's just missing his wife, are you going to be okay is one question. But if he's concerned in the murder of his wife, how do you sleep at night? You know,
as long as she comes home.
As long as she comes home. Little affirmative nod there. We've got the eyes doing separate things again.
But yeah.
And then he kind of like comes back to himself, like comes back to our circumstance. I think for a moment there, like there are moments in this where Paul is unable to stop himself from thinking about the reality of what happened. This is what I'm saying. This is my red flagging it. This is me being, you know, heavy biased on the fact he's guilty. So he can't even keep his eyes open at this moment. He has to close them for that. He's trying to he does keep them open, but it's a squint again, isn't it? It's that squint thing. His one eye's kind of drifted off. It's like half his brain is cut out here, while he's actually remembering are you going to be okay? Like, and he's thinking, I've been through this fucking shit. I've had to murder my wife to death by strangling. I've had to physically do it and to protect my interests with my affair and all this other stuff. Like, are you going to be okay is a legit question for someone who's been through all that shit. Like the narcissist in him feels that he's deserving of sympathy for having to do all this. You know, I've been out murdering my wife. I'm feeling bad. I'm deserving of sympathy. Are you going to be okay? Oh, I will. But, as long as she comes back. Like, it's thrown in there as like what this person really would say. But I think he's actually realistically been through trauma, and the "are you going to be okay" is slightly throwing him because he's actually thinking, yeah, I've got a problem here that I'm dealing with. Am I going to be okay? And also, am I going to stay out of prison? Is it going to work out for me? I'm not sure. I think so. I hope so. As long as, and then, you know, we don't know.
I will, as long as she comes home. But yeah.
And then he's back into looking at his feelings here.
I have to be okay.
I have to be okay.
Children.
For the children. This is a weird one, you see, because the children are not really his concern at the moment, even though he keeps telling us that they are his main concern. We know now, with hindsight, the children were put off with a different relative. And that other people have been getting the children up and taking them to school. He's not been able to go to his children and tell them good night. You know, we know this now. So he has to be alright for the children. Is his... You know, after he's looked into his feelings, looked into his thoughts, not been able to say what he really wants, he's ended up leaning on the children again.
Yeah. She comes home. But, yeah, I have to be okay for the children.
Scripted.
But obviously the hope inside me that she's going to come home, that I can't...
The fear that she's going to be found.
But obviously the hope inside me that she's going to come home, that I can't let myself, you know, think of anything else.
Can't let myself... This is really weird. This is really weird. Hang on.
But children. But obviously the hope inside me that...
I heard a little noise in the background as well, right? I heard a little noise in the background. I heard it sounded like scaffolding.
But obviously the hope inside me that... Obviously the hope hope inside.
Sounds like scaffolding. I know that sound. You know, I've worked on roofs. Sounds like scaffolding. Just might be wrong, but I feel like in the background, yeah, you heard the bar twice, Angela says. Yeah. Sounds like scaffolding. Now, earlier we heard a voice. Someone said they heard a voice in the background. Maybe someone outside is doing a job, workman's job, and they use their voice. You know, trust that. And they're like, shh, we're doing a filming in here. Maybe there's some scaffolding. If there's been some scaffolding, that means there's been work done higher up on a roof. Like, that's the only... You don't get scaffolding for doing the painting of the lower floor windows. They're either putting it up or taking it down. I just, you know, it's only a really outside thing, this. And the only facts I've got to go on are I can hear it. But... And it's slightly, you know, it's curveball from what he's saying. It's nothing to do with what he's saying. But also it could be studio lighting. No, I don't think so. I don't think so. I think it sounds too heavy. I recognise the scaffold pole. It's not like a little... it's not like a little... The lighting stands and stuff we use are light aluminium. They make different noises. The thing with me and the scaffold sound is that it's of huge concern, because what happens is scaffold goes up, work gets done, then later they come and remove the scaffold, and for a time the scaffold is still up. The work has not been the work has been finished, but the scaffold is still up. It gives you access to these places. You would think that they're not going to hide the body somewhere. The scaffolders will find her, but then the scaffolders are not going to come and be digging around in the roof. Like, you wouldn't permanently keep her in the roof and then take her down and put her in the river, would you? But it might give you access to somewhere for a while. They talked about up high. You know, it might be part of this height that gets talked about, the hiding, or it might just be this subconscious feeling of height because stuff has been going on in the roof. If stuff's going on in the roof, people are up and down in the attic, aren't they? And they're up in the roof, they've cleared spaces. I don't know. It just, there's something weird about that scaffold sound to me, that it was like a ringing of a bell. It alerted me, and because we're red flagging, I just have to throw that in there for everyone else in the world that wants to do more investigation. A scaffold at Emma's house.
But obviously the hope inside me that she's going to come home. That I can't let myself. That she's going to come home. That I.
This look again. This time he's looking into constructed. This is the worst look. If you're looking at neurolinguistic programming, you're looking at lying here. This is the worst look. Looking into constructed visual, making up a picture of something in his head. I mean, he might not be lying. He might be making up the picture that she's coming home, and he imagines what it would look like if she were to come home. It might be that. But it's just in general terms with neurolinguistic program, this is the one you don't really want to be seeing. Someone's having a laugh at Audrey. What are you saying, Audrey, in chat today? We've got a different Audrey today, Audrey Crombie. We've got some different, because we have a different Audrey who likes talking about food. We looked at what ACAD is. It says a dishonourable man, especially towards a woman, is an adulterous man. So it's a CAD, right? A CAD. Some people heard she might be pregnant, Emma. I don't know. And Dave Pat, yeah, if he's going to be drugged on anything here, he looks like he's on some sort of sedative, doesn't he?
But obviously the hope inside me that she's going to come home. That I can't let.
That he's got hope inside him for reals, and I think the hope inside him is that she doesn't get discovered and he gets away with the crime, isn't it?
For the children. But obviously the hope inside me that she's going to come home.
And maybe it's just a silly thing, but that scaffold clanking, you know, maybe it's really putting him off. Maybe it's making him think about this crime he's committed again, because he's remembering that she's up high in the attic and there's a scaffold. And like, you know, this is all going on in his head and he's stuttering his words completely.
I can't let myself. You know, think of anything else.
Think of anything else.
It isn't an option in my head.
It isn't an option in my head. It's very weird again.
The hope inside me that she's going to come home. That I can't let myself, you know, think of anything else. it isn't an option in my head.
It's ridiculous as well, because at the start of this interview he said we've been going around all you do is think about all the different options and go over all the different options, and now he's saying he can't let himself think about any other options. You know, it's just lying, isn't it? It's just lying. I'm trying to draw something else out of it about a red flag, but it's just because it's so almost dirty basic, this one, it's just he's lying.
That she's going to come home, that I can't let myself, you know, think of anything else. It isn't an option in my head.
It is.
We deserve a happy ending to all of this.
We do we? We deserve a happy ending to this. Who's we? Nicola? Nicola deserves a happy ending to all this. We deserve a happy ending to this. We deserve it. We're going back to what he said at the start of the interview as well, where he said that we're good people. We are good people. Him and his sister, and Nicola's sister, who's referring to there. We are good people. We deserve a happy ending out of all this. What is a happy ending? What's a happy ending? What's that? It's obviously all this big money coming in, wasn't it? It was this. And what's an ending? Why is it an ending to this? An ending to this? Like, if you find Nicola and your life goes on, that's not the end. That's the beginning of your life together again. Like, you don't want it to end, do you? It's the ending of this. The ending of your marriage. The ending of this is happy because you're going to get rich. Don't like it.
We deserve a happy ending to all of this.
To all of this. So it's not just one thing. It's not like we deserve a happy ending for the Nicola going and coming back. It's to all of this. It's not just one thing.
We deserve a happy ending to all of this. You know,
he gives an eyebrow raise.
We deserve a happy ending to all of this.
Honestly, we do, Gov. Honestly, we deserve a happy ending. We're good people.
You know, you can't have this level of support, this level of love.
He uses support before love.
We deserve a happy
ending. I'm going to let this play and I'm going to listen to what he says and then I'm going to break it apart.
Into all of this. You know, you can't have this level of support, this level of love and compassion and hope and prayers without getting a reward from that. In my mind, that is impossible. You know, when you think of all the hope and everything that's going out there, it has to come back. And that has to bring her home.
It's financial. He's talking about the GoFundMe.
And hope and you know, you can't.
You can't. It's a strange piece of language, right? To start with, you can't. Like, again, we've gone so far off. I'm looking for my missing wife here. Now we're talking about you can't. What you can and can't do or have. I'm in control. This is what you can and can't do. Yeah, you can't. It's not. You know, he's talking about being a positive person. Now he's telling you what you can't do. Setting the rules, setting the boundaries here. You can't
have this level of.
You can't have this level of
support.
Support was the choice. I mean, obviously he's thinking about they're going to put loads of money into a GoFundMe, yeah?
This level of love.
This level of love, which gets no emotional response at all. Instead, he's looking off into visual constructed, lying.
And compassion.
And compassion is just a qualifying word for love. Compassion. What's compassion? Compassionately putting your dog down. Compassionately, you know, murdering your wife. Like, what's compassion?
And hope.
And hope. We mention it again. These are the words off the script.
Prayers.
And prayers gets an even like shake of the head and surprise. Prayers. That's involving the wider community and church. Church is the community. Involving the church in your mind now. Prayers. It's not just your prayers. You're not sitting there praying. It's not like the level of prayers that you've got. The level of prayers that are going on in the community. I imagine the community have organised some sort of vigil and some sort of prayer meeting has been held. That's why prayers are getting involved, because he's talking about the church. The church are a community. They represent the wider community.
Without getting a reward from...
Without getting a reward
from
that. You talk about rewards when there's been a crime. It's a fiscal remuneration for solving a crime. Reward. We want this person found. Reward. Reward. Yeah. Did he put the dog down? No, he didn't. He hasn't killed the dog. No. I mean, that you use the word compassion when you have to go through a process of... Like, why would you be compassionate? Why would you need to be compassionate regarding the Nicola Bulley situation? Compassionate. Let me just take that word and give it a bit of a deeper investigation. Compassion. He's seen compassion. showing towards him. Sympathy, pity and concern for the sufferings or misfortunes of others. Sufferings or misfortunes of others. Pity and concern. So someone showing you pity or concern for the suffering of others. If someone else is suffering and you're compassionate, then you understand their suffering. And in a countryside sense, right, this is going to sound horrific really, because I'm a vegan, I don't think like this, but countryside people think like, you know, if an animal's suffering, you might be compassionate and murder it. Give it a murder, do it a murder, kill it, kill the animal. Compassionately kill the animal. That's what I said about putting a dog down. I had to compassionately put my dog down once. You know, you only do it once with each dog, but I did. That's why I think of that, compassion. He's saying obviously that you can't have this level of compassion. Like his words are, you can't have, he goes on to say without getting a reward, but you can't have a level of compassion is what he actually said. So maybe he means that you can't be emotional about this thing. Maybe you can't be compassionate and emotional, Paul. Maybe you have to shut that down, you know. Maybe it's that. I'm thinking that the word compassion is a very strange word to come after love. This level of love. Compassion. Maybe he's mixing up his feelings here about what he has. Like, you know, he's been very in love with Nicola to the point where he's murdered her. So that's good though, isn't it? Because it's love. You compassionately murdered her because she wanted to leave you. So you can't be a bad person because you are so loving you did a murder. Yeah, that's confusing, I know. But do you know what I'm saying? Like, if you're the narcissist, you're so in love with this person that you compassionately murdered them because you're so in love with them. You can't do that without being rewarded. You deserve a reward because you went through the shit that she put you through. You understand? You can't have this level of compassion. Look at that sneer on him there. Look at that sneer.
We deserve a happy ending to all of this. You know, you can't have this level of support, this level.
You can't have this level of support,
of love, and compassion and hope and prayers without getting a reward from.
Without getting a reward from it. What? I mean, it's such a weird thing to say, isn't it? It's like saying what he's actually like. If I break down what he's actually telling me, is he's telling me that in the hunt for his missing wife, you can't have this level. I'm supposed to read this on the surface of public support. You can't have this level of public support without getting a response, is the correct word. A response from it. Somebody finds something. Somebody calls in with a clue. Nicola responds to the call to return. A response. But instead he uses the word reward. So he's telling me that if your wife is missing, you can't have this big public campaign going on without getting a reward. Monetary or otherwise. We usually think of money when we say reward. Like, what the fuck is he telling me? He's telling me that if your wife goes missing, you should expect not financial, but some kind of reward. Like, you know, my next door neighbour, I've watched you, Scott, for a few weeks. It's unbelievable the police have not looked into Paul. Yeah, Sally, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Hi to all the suffragettes in chat. Once upon a time, this is a true story. I don't know why I started once upon a time, right? My neighbour's house was on fire. I'm laughing at this. It's the fucking truth. Verifiable. We come home from a dog walk, me and my sister. We sat in the car, like muddy wellies and stuff, like before we got out of the car, and like, "How's, are you all right?" "Yeah, we're okay," they said. And we could see there's like smoke coming out this window. Like, we got out of the car, muddy wellies, and like my sister checked, "Are you okay in there?" And then, "No, can you help?" So I had to run, smashed shoulder into the door was open, thankfully. I didn't have to shoulder barge it down, but it was open. I did still do the shoulder barge because, you know, it's my chance. Muddy welly, straight up the stairs, stomp, stomp, stomp. At the top of their stairs, it was all on fire. They'd got this vacuum cleaner. They'd sucked up some ashes or something. It had gone on fire in the vacuum cleaner. They'd put it on a chair on the landing to avoid burning the carpet. The whole thing was melting and had set fire to the chair. The wall was on fire. The carpet was on fire. The lady was in the bathroom. And the man was on the stairs trying to deal with it. They're older couple. I just picked him up basically and just took him outside. And then I went up and I like got the fire stuff. I wasn't that wasn't my next priority, was it? It was the woman. Into the bathroom, I got a towel and, put a wet towel, put it over her head, got her out, down past the fire. And then I went back in with the wet towel and like slapped that onto this chair, grabbed the whole flaming chair, bundled that out the front door, basically fucked up their whole house. I didn't. They set it on fire. They set it on fire, yeah. But I was out there with the wet towel, like, rubbing all these burning parts of the carpet, stomping my wellies out, fucked up their house a bit. What a hero. It wasn't like, listen, I'm not into a burning building with the roof coming in on me. It wasn't like that. It wasn't necessarily manageable, but it was manageable, I would call it. The situation had not quite got out of control, so I was in there at the right time. We were lucky. But yeah, so I did that, yeah. This isn't me blowing my trumpet. Anyone would have done the same thing. Anyone would have done the same thing. The neighbours needed help with this situation. You just run in and you just help, yeah. So, for that, I didn't expect a reward, right? But that's the sort of thing you might get rewarded for, isn't it? If I were to get a reward, right, I would expect maybe a box of chocolates. I don't drink beers, but, some beers. Do you know what I mean? If someone does something nice for you and you get them a reward, that was the reason I chose that one is because it's a rewardable act, isn't it? It's a rewardable act. They all saying how good I am. I don't think they felt I was that good, because although I saved their house from burning down, I totally fucked up their carpet and walls. So, in the name of putting out the fire, I totally went around with like my muddy but wellies stomping on everything. Anyway, the point is, I think they got me a box of chocolates or something, but what you do, you buy someone a box of roses, don't you? Thank you very much for thank you very much, thank you very, very much. So you get a reward, don't you? A reward for doing things, and it doesn't have to be financial, but you get a reward for doing good things, yeah. So the reason I want forget me, I'm not some sort of hero. I'm not. Like up my road as well, we've got a statue. There is a statue to the firemen who died. They were sent into... It's going to make me emotional now, because although I didn't know them all that personally, I drank with a couple of them, round about town. You'd see them in the... people. They sent some young firemen in my area into a burning factory, and the roof came in on them, and it fucking killed them. So they're the heroes. They're people like that are heroes. People like me who just, react like a nutter, running around with me wellies on. Less hero, more just, thoughtless. Just ran in there. But yeah, so this is Paul talking about rewards. The reason I'm talking about it is because, has Paul done something like this that deserves a reward? He's telling us that if your wife goes missing, you deserve a reward. That's what he's telling us. They're his words, not mine. I've described a situation where you might get a reward. I don't feel like he's gone through the same sort of thing.
Think of anything else. It isn't an option in my head. We deserve a happy ending to all of this. You can't have this level of support, this level of love and compassion and hope and prayers without getting the reward from that. In my mind, that is impossible. When you think of all the hope and everything that's going out there.
He does this with his hands. It's like, how big is the fish? He's physically holding something. It's big. Suitcase full of cash. Body. Like a trade that's going on.
It has to come back.
Come back. Not only financially it has to come back, but he almost does this like raining down on him, on his face. This is the thing that I'm thinking about, pushing something up high and it coming back on you, and this idea that it comes back on him, guilt, pushing towards me, pushing where's all the focus of all this hope and reward and search and everything? It has to come back on me. Fingers end up pointing to me. All roads lead to Rome. Things all come back to me. So that's what I'm feeling off this. Paul, you fucking wrongin'.
And that has to bring her home.
And that has to bring her home. Because, again, this is the second time today, third time today on this final 10 minutes that he's done this. He said the wrong thing, and then he's put the right thing. The answer to this is, all this support has to get a reaction and a response, and Nicola has to come home. But instead, he said, all this support has to create a reward that comes to me. That's what he literally said. I'm not putting words in his mouth. All this support has to create support that comes to me. And also, Nicola has to come home, of course. Will the autopsy be released for the public? I do not think so, Cimarron. I don't know. I don't know. There is a red bag in Nikki's car. We'll have to look into that. Thank you, Huda London Mental Health and Crime. £2 from you. Thank you very much. Mental health is really important, isn't it? I'll remind everyone, if you're finding this a struggle at any point, it's okay just to dip out and watch something more enjoyable. And if you're finding that you're being touched by these things because they're closer to home for you, then it's okay to we don't always have to think about the worst things in the world. And if you always think about the worst things in the world, you're not going to be strong for the fight against them. So it's okay to sometimes take some time. Thanks for the £2 there, Huda London Mental Health and Crime. We will look at that in due time. I think. It's incredible to me that he's fucked up like that at the end. There's that physical holding of something. It's the reward, and it's the reward exchange here that he expects to get. Your wife goes missing. Lots of people support you. You get a reward. It's just GoFundMe money, man. Do you know what? There's two other things I want to say here that are going to be a bit left field, and I want to say them, so I'm going to. He said, I won't let myself think like this. The only thoughts that are in my mind is this. I wonder, there's a book called The Secret. Has anyone heard of this? The book called The Secret. There's an idea that goes around that you should manifest things in your life by thinking about them, and that if you only closed-mindedly think about one certain thing, you can magnetically attract that thing. So it might be that Paul is describing a process of dealing with his problems by ignoring them and blind blinkers, just focusing on the one thing that he wants. I don't know if he's read The Secret and that's what he's trying to do, or if it's just his way of dealing with this, but it really sounds like that. It really sounds, I won't allow myself to think of anything else. There's no room in my mind for failure here. This is just this.
And the reward from that, in my mind, that is impossible.
In my mind, that is impossible, you see what I mean? And he does this very strange hand with it. This is something I'm not really...
In my mind...
I find this really weird. It's almost like a politician's hand. It's like... It's not a real hand gesture. No one really gestures with this flat hand like this. Like a puppet. So I find that a weird one. And it makes me think maybe he's holding something and reading something. Something flat.
And that is impossible. When you think of all the hope and everything that's going out there, it has to come back. And that has to bring her home.
And then the other one that makes me concerned here is, again, going to this drug thing. And I don't want to, like I've said a number of times now, I don't want to, and I'm not going to be exposing some drug ring on the internet so they come and murder me, because out of all the conspiracies you've got, like, actual gangsters are the people that you really want to watch out for. Are the police onto the killers? I don't know. I would hope so. I'd hope all this work that's going on the internet at least piques their interest. Some of them are going to be very negative about this and say, oh, people say this on the internet, it's a load of rubbish. I'm a police, I know what I'm doing. But there might be one or two police that see this that are interested and watch it and think, you know what, we have to investigate this because we've not been looking at it in this way, and we should do. And I didn't look at it this way, and they didn't look at it. But it doesn't matter. We need to start thinking of it like this. But the problem is they've missed their chances. So if they weren't thinking like this back then, evidences have disappeared, things have disappeared, it's too late. Like, no one is ever going to find Madeleine McCann because their parents did a really good job of murdering her and covering it up. Like, okay, manslaughtering her, but like, they covered it up so well, there are no evidences, it's too late now. There were evidences, they were recorded by the Portuguese police, they didn't end up becoming a big thing. But, you can't go up there and swab it now, can you? So the longer it goes on, the more impossible the police's task becomes. And if the police's task is impossible, they just give up. They just can't. You can't say, we're the police, we're going to go on forever and we're going to solve this. We've got other things to be doing. We haven't got as much money as we need. We haven't got as many people on the beat. We're being underfunded. And so they have to just lodge it. That one goes in the box of not solved. Like, and that's his escape plan, isn't it? It's a mess. It's a total mess. Yeah. So the thing I wanted to say about the drugs is, again, he's doing this quantity thing with his hands, this money thing, and it does worry me that in some way this whole thing might be like, we have considered and discussed whether it could be a plan that's been constructed and whether it was constructed between Paul and Emma. But I do wonder about, like, when you talk about the higher ups in these drug gangs, like, you know, if Paul said to somebody, I don't like my wife, I wish she was dead, you know, and then they said, right, we can arrange that, you know, you end up with this sort of stuff where money is important, and or maybe someone has suggested maybe Paul owes money, and like, my theory on that was that Paul can't be owing them money because they just bin you off, they don't fuck about, you know, they break your arms and then they fucking kill you. No, that's it. There's no owing them money for weeks and months and then maybe coming up with a payment plan. They break their arms and then your legs, your arms, and then they kill you. Like, you got, your first warning is broken arms. The second warning is you're dead. And we don't. I say we. We don't fuck about. Like, we don't fuck about. In England, we don't fuck about. The Swede in me doesn't know what super chuffer is. It's like chuffer is like I'm doing now. I'm chuffing on. I'm doing a lot of talking. Chuffing on. Chuffer can also be like, instead of me saying you stupid fucker, I could also say you little chuffer. You know, it's a bit of a nicer way of saying it. So I'm the super chuffer because I chuff on, and I chuff a lot. And also, it sounds a bit like super chat. Super chatter. You can be the super chatters, I'll be the super chuffer. Toxicology report. I would love to see a toxicology report. I think it's going to be difficult. I think they're going to find difficulties. And I think what I really worry about is that the reason that Nicola's body wasn't found so early is because they wanted it to stay. Someone's looked into this, and water covers evidences. The longer you're in the water, the harder it is to read things from the body. So I'm looking for a really good autopsy. I'm hoping for one. There might even be, the autopsy is a separate judiciary from the police, but it might be they've got friends in the police that they don't want to make them look bad. I don't know. So we just hope to Jesus that they do a really good job on that, and that, you know, we find out more. In terms of what she looked like when she was found, I didn't see any images of her in states of undress. There is a YouTube channel called Hollywood something, and it's got a very salacious thumbnail, but that thumbnail is not Nicola. Her bottoms were missing. No, that thumbnail on that's gone around is not Nicola. Then what they've done is they've got a video that they really want to be popular. Let's see if I can quickly find it. It's pretty grim. It's pretty grim. If I do find it, you know, I don't really want to look at this because I don't like it. But it's somebody else's body being recovered from somewhere else, and they do this sort of thing. It's clickbait. Like there's an image you might have seen of a woman or somebody floating in a body of water with their bottom half uncovered. In fact, I'm not going to find it now, forget it. The bottom half is uncovered, and that's a different image from a different case that they've used to draw you into clicking on the video. And in the video, you don't see that video of somebody being like that. So just be careful of what you believe on the internet sometimes, you know. It's a horrible image, but I don't think it's Nicola. Yeah, going back to Paul and this idea of drug dealing. So it might be that, you know, I find it unlikely that you would settle someone's drug debt by coming up with a plan to kill their wife with them. Like, okay, Paul, we're not going to murder you today. Instead, we're going to murder your wife, and then later you can give us the money. Like, I think that's silly. I think they just fucking murder you. But it might be that, you know, he's got somebody involved in this drug operation that is willing to do this thing with him, has helped him to murder his wife, or he's murdered his wife, and now he said, I'll get you your money from the GoFundMe. You know, and that's going to help him clear his debts, clear his table. That might be the case. So, and yeah, in chat there, Susan. Hello, Susan. How you doing? Peter Folding got sacked. Yeah, I was saying at the very start of today's episode, it's an interesting one. Peter Folding didn't get properly sacked. What has happened is, while this case is under investigation from 2 different inquests, the people that worked on the case, like the police diving team and Peter Folding, are not allowed to do any more investigative work.
It's raining again. I couldn't be happier.
Thank you for the tippies. They're not allowed to do any more investigative work until they've been investigated. It's quite normal. Like if you're a doctor and on your watch somebody dies, you're doing a surgery and they die, you might not be allowed to do any more surgeries until they check it out. Then you might be allowed to go back to surgery, completely exonerated and cleared. So the diver has not been sacked. He's been suspended pending investigation, and then they've made it look like he's been sacked for a big story, but it's a big story. Sad, like strangely, like it's quite normal to be suspended from operations in a situation like this until the investigation has taken place. Zencat bought me a coffee, really insightful. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. The tippies are what's keeping me going, you know. I need to go to Aldi as well, like all you other chuffers, so I need to pay my heating bills. And I also want to drive this media product forward and create even better media, so watch this space. Thank you for the tippies. Paul, it's quantities, it's sizes, it's transactional. It's not good.
There, it has to come back, and that has to bring her home.
I really appreciate you talking to us. I know it's impossibly difficult. You've described your life at the minute as a living hell. I hope what you said makes a difference as well, and I think everybody watching this will join me in saying that we all hope that Nikki comes home and that she is safe and well and you can be back together.
Yeah. Thank you.
He actually gets a smile at the end there because it's over.
That she
the
is
relief,
safe and well and you can be back together.
Yeah.
the relief now, that fast nodding as we've seen earlier in the interview is a display of him wanting to move things along. Fast nodding. It's not him agreeing. It's him just like, okay, I understand that we've got through that bit. You're now preparing the question for the next bit. I'm out that bit. I'm nodding along. Let's move it along.
Thank you.
Thank you, Paul.
Thank you. And that's Paul. So at the end, he fucked right up. And do you know what? It's often the case that with these things, it's a matter of, like, the human brain is a wonderful thing, but how I've done 5-hour streams, haven't I? You know, we've been chuffing on for ages, and I tell you, my brain's starting to give up. I can't keep it up. The mental stress and the difficulty of that mental juggling act. If you are innocent, not a problem, because there's no juggling act. You just reveal your emotions and speak to your truth. But if you're not, it becomes such a problem and such a stress that it builds up and you crack. And when you think that you're getting on well and things are going well, then you fuck up because you're not able to maintain. Paul here has fucked up at the end, the worst, in my opinion. I'm glad we did this last 10 minutes. I'm glad I didn't let this go, because this was the absolute worst when he said that you get a reward for your wife being missing. Instead of people searching for her should provoke a response. That was horrific. Absolutely horrific. What do you think in chat? I mean, I know what you think in chat. You've been telling me all the way. But has this made him seem more guilty for you now? Or do you think I've been harsh on him? Because this is deliberately harsh, remember. This is red flagging. I'm inventing it as a thing. Red flagging. From now on, body language... Because body language analysts of the past, right? I'll have them for this. I'm going to have them for this. Have you seen Shannon Matthews? You like that? My T-shirt. Body language analysis of the past. I've seen them on the internet and they're all interesting and I've learned from a lot of them. But they're like, you have to be fair. You have to be balanced. You can't be biased. And you want to make sure that you're not bringing... And no, right? I want to know what's the worst case scenario. Like if I take my car into the mechanics and they say, well, you know, we're going to be fair and not biased and, you know, we're going to give it a look and it might be that it doesn't work or it might be... No, I want you to absolutely test the bollocks off it. I want you to test the, you know, give it the... when they put it on that rolling road or whatever, do you know what I mean? Like you want them to test the bollocks off it. You want them to see it's watertight. Not, yeah, we'll give it a bit of, yeah. So I agree with, in general, the body language people. You know, I love a lot of their stuff. But I think sometimes they're almost so fair that they're pathetic in a way when they should be looking for these signals and these red flags. So me personally, I'm saying red flagging is actually acceptable. I'm not the body language guru, am I? Like, no one is. No one can be. Some of them on the internet say I'm the body language person. I'm the main body language chuffer. I'm a big body language channel, right? But they don't have... There is no qualification for body language. There is none. Like, you can have a psychology degree, and I've studied psychology at uni, so I'm halfway there. But body language degree. Let's just put that in. Oh, you can, look, find a master's body language. Or you can. Can you? Open University. Free online courses, not that. Manage my cookies. Save preferences. Body language. On the Open University here is like a part of what is it? A part of course content languages. It's like a part of a free course on languages. It's not that, is it? Can you do a master's in body language? I don't think you can. You know, I did look into this. There is no, no, look, language and linguistics, teaching English to speakers to other languages, linguistics, contemporary directing practice, human anatomy, finance and investment management. There is no body language degree. There is no masters in body language. You can't be the body language expert because you've got your certificate. What there are people that are interested in, have learned about, and maybe have some other qualification alongside that supports the study of body language. I'm in that category. I don't have a degree in body language. I studied psychology at university. I don't have a degree in it. I didn't finish. But I do have a sociology A-level. I do have a media qualification for what it's worth. You know, I've got a hairdressing qualification. I've got some other qualifications that maybe you would say psychology and stuff count towards it. But yeah, so when the others tell you, bear this in mind, right? The other body language channels I respect and I watch and I learn. But when they tell you this is how the facts are, this is how it is, we have to be balanced and I have to do... You don't have to. We're on the internet. If you want, you can red flag the fucker. So red flag the tits out of him, please. I want them to do this. I can't believe they won't. You can do a balance as well. You can have someone else like, you know, good angel, bad devil on the shoulders. You can have one expert giving me the red flags and one giving me the white flags if you want. But why they're so reticent to red flag Paul is beyond me. I've watched them and they've been like, Paul is basically maybe innocent and I just find it disgusting because from my read on it, he's knocked her on the head. He's come downstairs. She's having a white, like, her and Emma are going at it. He thought he was going to be shagging Emma for an hour while he's got his free hour. And instead of shagging Emma for an hour, he's been caught out and his wife's gone fucking tits. And he's had to grab hold of her and she won't let it go and she won't give in and she's fucking smashed him in the face and Emma's got a right cart to her eye and, like, you know, to her face, side of her face, and he's gone nuts, Paul has. He's lost his shit and he's like done her. And then he's thought, shit, what am I going to do now? And they've come up with this story and this plan and then the money's got involved and he's like, it's, or maybe even, you know, maybe not that flashpoint. That was my main theory. But it might also be that he's planned it and he's that sinister that he's thought, like, fuck this, I'm tired of listening to this bitch and her opinions and what's going on, and she thinks she's going to leave me, or he's caught a message on her phone. She thinks she's going to leave me. She's going to go, oh, she thinks she's going to leave me on this day. We'll see what she thinks she's going to do. You know, and it's gone into, at some point the money's come into it in a huge way as well. The money's an important point to Paul. Big, important aspect. Yeah, to me, that's the stories, yeah. And the other story, which is that Nicola's wandered off and in some way got herself into trouble in the river, either deliberately or accidentally, or third-party behaviour out in the fields. This dog-walking people, the woman at the park. Like the woman at the holiday park and her fella, they seemed cantankerous to me, but they were on the fucking scene with the police. Like, if you've done the murder, you don't stay at the scene. You hide. You don't say, you know, call the school, I've got her phone. Like, you don't do that. It just doesn't. There are some things that don't ring true with that. But Paul was not on this. He had to run down there in his gym kit, didn't he? Having changed his clothes. Like, come on. What's wrong with you chuffers? So for me, that's my feelings on it. I really wish the other body language people would, like, you know, even for the sake of argument, give him a red flagging. And in the future, if they want, I'm not going to do every case. Yeah? I'm not a true crime channel, so that poor case of these people and the child recently, I don't know, I could do every case. And we're going to do some more on Nicola Bulley as things pan out, I suppose, aren't we? But in the future, I've done other body language analysis in the past on a different channel. I'm particularly keen to, I'll do the thing they won't. I'll red flag the people. Whenever these things come up, you know, your next... we haven't done a full breakdown of Prince Andrew, for example. It's a bit late now, but we could still do it. You know, if you've got people you want me to body language analysis, tell me, well, you know, we'll look into them. And then as they come up in the future, there won't be the last of this. You know, there'll be more Paul Ansell. There'll be more people like Paul Ansell. So we'll keep doing it. We'll keep doing it, you know. And okay, I might be wrong to some of these red flags. Maybe, like I said, I might be biased. I might be leaning a certain way. Okay, I should be maybe more objective and all that. I'm saying, fuck it, I'm not. So if you take your own opinion out of this, make sure you take your own opinion. Don't believe everything I say. Just see this as a third-party opinion from someone on the internet, yeah? And you make your own opinion. I trust you in chat. I trust you to make up your own opinions. I'm not here to tell you what I think is what you think. Bear that in mind as well, you know, that's important. It's really important. So yeah, I think we've done a good episode today, you know. I actually think we have. I think we've been doing good today. What have we got up to? Can't see how long we've been on for some reason on my thing. We've been on for nearly 3 hours. We're coming up, literally ticking over for 3 hours in 4, 3, 2, 1. 3 hours. That's a good time for a stream, I think. I think you've had it out of me tonight, you chuffers. So we'll be back on tomorrow. Remember, tomorrow I want to know what you think. And the show will only work if you tell me what you think. So if you're thinking, oh, I might send a message, I might not, send me a message. Send me a SpeakPipe message. Get on that link, send me a SpeakPipe message, and then tell me what you think about the occult, whether it's they could find Nicola, the speak boxes, you know, the tarot cards, the Ouija boards, or if you've seen a ghost, or if you've got some experience with the occult, or if you think it's a load of bollocks and you've got opinions on that. You've got about 1.5 minutes per message. You've got 2 messages each. Don't go 10 messages each, please, but try and fit it into the short 1.5 minute message you get. Give me your opinions, and then what will happen is they'll play on the screen, on the stream. I'll play your voice, and then we will talk about it in chat, and I'll react, you know. So that's what's happening tomorrow. So I want your voices in chat in the SpeakPipe. Right now, if you want any more of me, make sure to go on the rest of this channel, scroll down, have a look through. The Thus podcast, the playlist here, is well worth a listen if you haven't been through it all. You've got the full podcast there. You've also got my Madly I McCann stuff. I did a body language breakdown of her parents. You might want to watch that. So just because I'm going away doesn't mean you have to, you chuffers. But I will be back on tomorrow. So I want to say thank you very much. You've been good. Thank you very much. You've been good. And remember, if you can't be good, you're naughty.